Emergency podcast, DNVR Broncos live, presented by DraftKings Sportsbook. And I said this last time, sometimes there's good emergency shows for exciting things. And we're now back-to-back bad emergency shows.
Yeah, back-to-back bad emergency shows in a 4-day span. Boy, this past 5 days has been as rough as it could be. If I would have told you a week ago, you would have said, we'll take anything else but what has happened this week. And not only are we still reacting from the dreadful, dismal, horrible, miserable, concerning loss last night, but we're also now reacting to two major injuries for the Broncos. Garett Bolles, done for the season with a broken leg. It's not the 6-week timeline we thought that could have been last night. He's done for the year, has to have surgery on the leg. And Ronald Darby, he is also out for the rest of the season with the torn ACL. We're talking about two key starters, one on each side of the ball, that the Broncos will not have for the remaining 12 games of this season.
Yeah, you really can't afford that at this point. I don't think I'm breaking any news there. Like, this is just a team now that is lacking good players on offense. Like, you're just kind of out. You've got two guys who are just like good at football and offense. You still got like 6 or 7 on defense, but you're in a deep talent trouble right now.
Yeah. I mean, it's so... the one that actually, I don't know. The one that actually hurts me more is the one to Ron Darby, and it's because you have one strength on this team, and it's the defense. Mm-hmm. Now, at the same time, he might be easier to cover up as a loss, but you're turning to Damari Mathis, who was not great last night. Had an opportunity to make multiple big plays and just didn't do it. And Garett Bolles it's not that simple. Now there maybe is help on the way at some point at the tackle position, but again, you're hanging on a thread. I just, for me, losing a piece of your defense Josie Jewell is also banged up. It's just like, okay, well, if you don't have the defense, then you have nothing.
Let's just hit them all right now. Josie Jewell week to week with a knee injury, a sprained knee. That's a brutal injury. Week to week, you don't expect him to be playing in the next game. And then you have Baron Browning, one of the stars of last night, one of the few bright spots. He's day-to-day with a wrist injury, especially since it's a wrist. It's not ideal for a pass rusher, but you have hope that he could play in 10 days against the Chargers. So, I mean, we're talking about two absolutely brutal injuries, and that's not even it. There's still some more. And so that's the question. Which ones hurts this team more, guys? Ronald Darby or Garett Bolles?
I mean, it's probably Garett Bolles, but at the same time, I don't know.
Yeah. So, couldn't the offense get worse?
Oh, yeah. Well,
you think so?
Yeah.
How?
But, I mean,
9 points?
Just remember, though, and Ryan, this isn't just to get on you, but after the first 2 weeks, you said the Broncos offense is going to score more than 16 points, and they didn't that next week. Yep. And then they scored a little bit more last week against the Raiders, and then 9 points now. I've thought we've seen rock bottom for years now, and it can always get worse, because remember, this Colts team is a really bad team. The Chargers are also really banged up, just like the Broncos, but the Chargers are a better team than the Colts. So can it get worse? Yeah.
Here's what at least my thought on this is Garett Bolles was playing bad. So
True.
The gap between him and whoever replaces him, whether that's Calvin Anderson or, some combination of Cameron Fleming and Billy Turner at some point, which again, who knows with Billy, that I don't know how significant that drop-off is going to be, just based off of how bad Garett was playing.
But wait, Ryan, I think you're just forgetting how bad it was with those replacements. Calvin Anderson was supposed to be a guy competing for that starting right tackle job. He got jumped by Cam Fleming, who wasn't ever an option on this team. He was honestly the 4th option at right tackle. Cameron Fleming jumped Calvin Anderson. Now, the hope is that Calvin Anderson's better at left tackle. And again, just kind of a hope that you hope for when he fills in there. And then you think, oh man, the offensive line's just just about to get better by getting Billy Turner back. Well, now Billy Turner is just going to be replacing essentially Garett Bolles, regardless of really what position he is. We talked about how bad this offensive line is, and there was hope on the way with Billy, but now it's just like a one-for-one swap. So I see what you're saying, and Garett Bolles certainly is not the Pro Bowl all-pro player that he was a couple of years ago. Definitely struggling, so it's good to keep that in perspective. But I just think the guys that they're going to be replacing him with are just extremely disappointing.
I think that if you get like a bottom 10 starting tackle out of Billy Turner, I think you're happy with that. I think that if you get an average backup tackle out of Calvin Anderson, I think you're probably happy with that.
Yeah.
And again, those aren't like expectations.
bars.
I think those are like, I think you're happy if that's what you get. And you got Khalil Mack up next. It's a really big problem. And I think like Garett Bolles probably in my mind, his value was about the same as Cam Fleming to this point in the season, but all those additional penalties are what tanked him down to that level.
Yeah.
So it's like if he doesn't have the multiple holds, that could have bumped him up just a little bit more. And there's like a chance he could figure that out. But yeah, I mean, it's ugly. It's really ugly on that offensive line.
Honestly, wow, this is tough to say out loud, but it's in my head, so I'm going to say it. This might be a blessing for Garett because he was playing so bad that it might have been to a point where going into next season, you're like, we can't play this guy. So I think the Broncos can save after this year by moving on from him.
They can.
I think the further away we get from this tape, the more you're able as a Broncos organization to look and say, I mean, he's better than what we have for sure. And there was that 1 year. Maybe we can recapture that. Like, it was and to take a word from Numbies here, it was teetering. It was on the edge of teetering for Garett Bolles.
Well put.
On this season. Like, it had a chance to really dive off. And like you said, Henry, the matchups were only getting more difficult. Moving on from here, especially
He did have Crosby.
next week. He did have, yep, for sure.
Yep.
But that was, well,
He did not do
both
well
sides.
against Crosby.
No, he did not.
No one
he did not.
Cam Fleming, had a couple shots, and that didn't go well either.
Yeah.
So that's just my thought on this is Calvin Anderson's bar to come in and fill in is actually pretty low. Like, the swap is don't commit like really costly penalties.
Yeah. If you expect to get the same level of play out of the left tackle, I think you're going to be disappointed, though. And again, like the question for Garett at the end of the season is just going to be, would we rather have Garett Bolles or a tackle that we signed for $8 million?
Right.
And that's what it's going to come down to. And I think right now Bolles is probably like a $9 million tackle, $10 million tackle, but it's going to be really close right there.
It is.
I don't think he was playing like that at all to this point.
No, but I think
don't
like
think so
big
either.
picture, you
Big
look
picture.
at him and say like that's probably the expectation.
And that's what I mean. That's what the
Yeah.
Broncos are going to end up doing
Totally.
months from now when Garett Bolles hasn't played a game in 10 weeks.
So
I
here's
will
the-
say-
here's the situation:
Okay.
$10 million you saved by moving on from Garett Bolles
Is it 10?
this year.
Oh, I thought it was
$8 million cap hit that you would have in
Yeah.
dead cap. Is Garett Bolles on this team next year? You save $10 million by
Yes.
moving on from him.
I think so.
Because of what I
your
just
other
said.
option is
Yeah.
$10 million that you get to use to sign his replacement.
And that's exactly it, Henry, is you would be signing his replacement. You wouldn't be drafting his replacement.
True.
Because you're not drafting a guy at the end of the third round. I guess maybe closer to the beginning of the third round, the way that this season's going potentially.
There's a silver lining.
Yeah, exactly. But he's not coming in and being your day one starter at left tackle to protect Russell Wilson.
No, I mean, you would hope not.
No.
No.
To be fair, the Chiefs redid their entire offensive line in one off season with mostly draft picks, and a couple signings, but or I guess 2 off seasons. But still, I do. Like I said, I think in terms of Garett Bolles' future as a Bronco, I think this actually might have helped him, which is kind of crazy to say.
That's crazy.
But yeah, I mean, the problem is all the alarms were already going off last night. And so this is a huge loss from a very micro standpoint. But on a macro standpoint, the problems with the offense are so vast and so large that it's like, well, just add it to the mix. I mean, you have to fix everything. So go ahead and throw this in there as well.
Yep.
Exactly.
Again, like my thought at this point is you're just out of good football players. You have Russell Wilson, who I'm still calling a good football player, despite like it's one game versus a whole career. You have Cortland Sutton, who is a good football player. Beyond that, it's like Jerry could get there, but we haven't seen it. The offensive line, like Quinn Miners has flashed. We haven't seen it. I mean, Melvin, the fumble, like you lost Javonte, you lost Tim Patrick, who's maybe in there. Defense is still fine, but it's just so hard to see this offense getting better more than, that touchdown that comes from just not making mistakes.
There's one undoubtedly good football player with like no questions right now on offense, and it's Cortland Sutton. Now, Russell Wilson should very well be in there, but nationally, people don't feel that way right now.
I'm not even sure about Cortland Sutton. He's
fair.
now. It depends on where we're drawing the line, because I'm not going to disagree with you that he's a good football player. Really good football player, Ryan. But he had a drop yesterday, and he was really pissed at himself for having that drop. But then
bad throw.
One of the
should have caught it. Bad throw.
It went right through his hands.
Yes,
he absolutely should have caught it.
Bad throw. Should have caught it.
Yeah, but it wasn't even like a one-handed. It went right through both of his hands.
Yes, it could still be a bad throw.
Sure, yeah, but absolutely should have been caught. But maybe the most comical play of them all last night we didn't touch on. You guys know what I'm talking about? Think of just comical, stupid. Now, comical because it worked out for the Broncos, but unbelievably stupid.
I don't know.
When Cortland Sutton stole a catch for Montreal, Washington.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, talk about what is going on there. I don't know if that's clearly not the play call to have two guys meet in the middle of the field. I don't know if Russell Wilson threw the ball wrong where they both have to adjust. If one of those guys ran the wrong route. Those guys should never be that close where you have to do that. And I don't know if that was, again, on Russ, Cortland, Montreal, all of the above. But that is just such an inexcusable play that somehow worked out well for the Broncos.
Yeah, at least what I saw on the replay is those two guys should have been more spread out.
Yep.
But Russ threw it right in between them. So then they both came together. Like, neither one of them had it. And to this moment, I don't know who he was throwing it to.
I mean,
I did see Montreal with the ball on his chest on the ground, and Cortland Sutton pulled it out of his hands. And the person that was sitting next to me was like, maybe he thought it was the defender, and that's the only.
That's exactly what that play looks like when Montreal's a defender.
Yeah, like I would assume you'd see the orange jersey, but I guess if someone else's hands are on the ball and yours are too, like your instinct is just to rip it.
Yep.
But even that was like a dysfunctional, like. I didn't like the optics of that play. Not even just like what the comical of two guys having it. Just the fact that like Cortland's ripping the ball away from his teammates. He wants the stats. It seems.
Yeah.
It's just optically bad.
Montreal should have been like, it would have been. What the hell, dude? I'm the rookie trying to get like my first big catch. What's going on here?
Yep.
Totally. I mean, I will say, like, of all the things that went bad, that's one that I'm not too focused on. Just because it's like, who knows? Like, it's better than them both letting go of the ball and then nobody catches it. But, like, there's so many other things that it's just like, this is awful. This is awful. This is awful. It's like, not a great look.
It just plays into the whole game, being it's just the soundtrack of yakety sax.
Yeah, totally.
And of dysfunction. And the thing is, though, Henry, if that would have worked out where the two guys ran into each other and didn't catch the ball, or let's say Cortland rips it from Montreal, or Montreal puts up more of a fight and rips it, and then it's incomplete. And the Broncos aren't set up near in the red zone to then have that drive at the end. I mean, oh my goodness.
But if neither tries for it, then it hits the ground too.
Yeah, but I mean, that's the same thing though. If neither tries for it because they think the other one's getting it, well, something was clearly wrong with the play.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, it was
terrible.
It was all out of whack. And okay, let's just wrap up the injury talk with a little more on Ron Darby. Was playing very well this season, really only allowing things in front of him. I don't know. One big thing you lose here is speed. In terms of just like matching up with very fast receivers, he brings that to the table. And you don't even when OJ Mudia comes back, Damari Mathis isn't you wouldn't put like plus speed as one of his, best attributes. I don't know, in terms of, in the grand scheme of corners. So you lose some team speed, I think, with that, and then you're just going down the list. Like every position that this team has depth is now being tested to the absolute wits of it.
And on top of that,
real quick, do you disagree with the speed thing?
Yeah, I think he's pretty crazy fast.
Really?
I think he might be their fastest DB. I think
Darby was probably their fastest DB.
he was close. He's who I'd have second.
Did
Or maybe even
Damari
Surtain,
run at the
honestly.
combine?
I don't know.
Let's see.
I don't know what the 40
We can
time
keep
is.
talking.
And you lose experience, and that's just so key to have
Yes.
especially because you have Pat Surtain on one side, so Ejiro doesn't even have to worry about that side, and then he didn't have to worry that much about Ron Darby's side. Now, if Ron Darby had a bad matchup, was going against a crazy physically gifted guy, then he worries and helps with safety help. But for the most part, Ron Darby was a great number 2 cornerback for the Broncos. Not one of the
Definitely.
best cornerbacks in the NFL, but a great number
Definitely.
2. And so it was just, you got to count on the cornerbacks, and that just allowed Ejiro to do so much more and help in so many different ways, especially with having Justin Simmons out. It was just a sigh of relief to not have to worry about those positions. And now you're going to a rookie. And now you're going to Michael Ojemudia, who hasn't played and may make his season debut this coming week. Now, I still think Damari Mathis is going to be your number 2 cornerback.
Yep.
But Ojemudia is one snap away from being maybe a starter, or at least he's going in there on nickel and dime. It's getting bad quick.
All right, I was off, but only on one of the 2 things I said. I was off in saying that that's not one of his plus thing. He did run a 4.39, so he's very fast. But he's not as fast as Ron Darby, who ran a 4.38.
By 40 time. Okay. Okay.
But yeah, I mean, man, that speed doesn't pop to me. I don't know why.
Yeah.
It does for Ron Darby more.
Doesn't matter when you're playing so far off the receiver.
That's-
You're not turning and sprint as much. But,
That is true.
It's just going to suck when next week you got Keenan Allen and Mike Williams out there, and you're just like, well, who do you put on Damari? Like, who's Damari covering? Is it Keenan Allen? I mean, he'd get cooked by Keenan Allen. Is it Mike Williams? He'd get mossed by Mike Williams. Yeah. So it's you have a leak. And again, it's still a good defense.
I'd rather take the chance on the jump balls.
Okay.
You just have to have safety help.
Yep.
All the time now.
Yep.
Well, yeah. I mean, you're playing too high that game.
Yep.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are. But yeah, like, in terms of the defense overall, I'm not worried. Like, it's a big loss for sure. But again, like, DJ Jones, Draymond Jones, Bradley Chubb, Randy Gregory's going to be back at some point.
Baron Browning.
Baron Browning. You got Pat Surtain. You got Justin Simmons.
Didn't miss
Cream is almost there.
You really didn't miss Randy Gregory at all last night.
No, you didn't. But again, like, there's good players
You also
all
didn't
over
miss
that
Justin
defense.
Simmons last night.
You're good all over.
I just feel like I have to mention this, though. They've been doing this against Davis Mills, Geno Smith, Matt Ryan, Jimmy G making his first start, and then really the best quarterback that they've played did well against them, Derek Carr, and then that offense did well against them. And so I'm scared. I think this defense has a lot of pieces. And after the Raiders game, I just got way too scared to call them elite. They looked fantastic last night going against garbage.
Terrible.
So to me, you just can't lean on this defense, I don't think, because I'm not sure that they're that good, that they're good enough to stand up this strong against good to great offense.
If you can't lean on this defense, then that pick that you gave the Seahawks is going to be a very high pick.
It is going to be a very high pick. But that's the thing about football season. Is you just learn more and more every week. And next week we'll get one more data point against the Chargers, and hey, there's Justin Herbert. If things go well, maybe the defense is good. They don't go well whatsoever. Going back to that Raiders game, though, the more I think about it, the more I think that was a rookie defensive coordinator game. Like, when you just look at how it all played out and how, like, early on in the game, there's running against the nickel. Like, you're in nickel, you cannot stop Josh Jacobs. And everything after that, from the play action to the outside runs, like, he was just a step behind. And the good news is that's one game that we've seen that. I think when I look back, that's Ejiro Evero and the inside linebackers who really were the cause of the issues in that game.
I hope you're right.
Yeah,
I really do think the defense is going to keep this team in games all year long. Random thought that I forget what you said, but this morning, when I woke up this morning, I've never been more jealous of the guys here who cover the Nuggets and the Avalanche. Not because of the team quality, because when the Nuggets blow a 20-point lead in the fourth quarter and have an inexplicable loss, they just play like 2 days later, maybe the next day. I woke up this morning being like, wow, we get to sit on this for 11 more days after this, and nothing is going to get any better. Like,
no,
the more people think about it, the more mad they get about it, the longer it just. this is the it was you talking about how with football you just continue to get more and more information. It's so frustrating in a season like this where you get one data point every week, and right now it's basically 2 weeks until we get our next data point on the Broncos. But so but what you're saying essentially about not being able to lean on his defense is why the Darby one hurts for me more.
Fair.
Because it's just like
That was your strength.
you're chipping away at the only thing that's keeping you alive right now.
Yep.
Yeah, 100%. And this next coming game is going to be a very big test. You mentioned it. Mike Williams, Keenan Allen, Austin Eckler, and Justin Herbert. Now, the Chargers are also really banged up. In fact, the Chargers injuries came about 1 week before the Broncos, and we're like, damn, the Chargers are charging again. I don't know if the 5 fans out in Los Angeles say, damn, the Broncos are broncoing again. I've never heard that statement, but they could
'Cause there
easily.
are no fans.
The 5 of them, though. Yeah. When they all meet for drinks at happy hour before the game. But they would be saying
charged up.
Exactly. There you go. They'd be saying the exact same thing about the Broncos right now, and so that's kind of going to be an even test in terms of injuries and against a good team that's been injured.
Yeah. The thing is, they were better than you on paper before their injuries. Now you have like equal injuries as them. So the one thing that hurts the Chargers is them always getting hurt, and the Broncos now have that problem too. And I want to finish that conversation by something I'm just seeing everywhere. So I think it's something we should talk about, which is fire the strength and conditioning staff. Now, I am always on the side of the strength and conditioning staff when it comes to this. I'm just like, the strength and conditioning staff couldn't have done anything for Garett Bolles' leg.
Zero.
There's very few things you can do to save someone from tearing their ACL. But I think the Broncos' injuries have been such a problem for so long that you just kind of have to make a change for change's sake. Now, I'm not saying in the middle of this season, but it's probably time for like just a new line of thinking in that room.
I don't disagree with anything you said.
I'm right there with you. And again, like I look more at like the Quinn Miner's hamstring. It's like is that the kind of thing that like in terms of strength and conditioning, that is in theory the most preventable sort of injury, and you have some of those too. And the thing about Lauren Landau is like, again, can you put all of this on him?
No,
because it's just the way things go. But also, like, it's not like he had a huge track record coming in. You know, he ran a gym, as far as I know. Like,
yes.
I don't know, like, the full story behind that. But again, it's not like he's a well-renowned, he's been a bunch of places, no ACLs, whatever. Like, when things go bad, you need a change. Just like if you don't score any points, you change your offensive coordinator because you just have to do it.
Well,
That's exactly what I'm saying.
Specifically with Lauren Landau Henry, he is viewed as like a god in
Guru.
Denver.
Yes.
Not necessarily outside, like in NFL circles everywhere, to get to your point.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things, like Henry said, where you just go find someone who has like a great track record of injuries, and that person might just be lucky.
Totally.
Like, injuries, I would contend, are in the NFL like 80% luck.
Yes.
Maybe even more.
Yes.
But you just like want it almost. If it happens again, once you bring in this guy who never gets hurt, then you can just finally be like, okay, we just have bad luck. But it's just probably time for a change.
And to me, like, the Broncos have officially entered this 2022 is an injury hell season. Like, things were not going well injury-wise before, but like the league averages and 1.5 players go down with an ACL on each team every year. And you had 3. And you're just like, yeah, it's a little bit high, but that's like kind of close to everything. And like you lose good players, but if you're pretty healthy throughout the rest of the season, that's kind of just a blip that kind of evens out. After this game, with now Darby gone, now Bolles gone, like you are officially like this is an injury hell season, and that's going to be a part of this the story of this season. Absolutely.
And the worst part about that is just I talk about this all the time. Once the ball is kicked off on Sunday, no one cares about your injuries anymore. No one thinks about them, and this is fans, media, all that. Well, you should.
No.
It's part of the context of winning and losing is the players you have on the field.
But the Chargers are also very injured, and I think when most people view it from their side, whether it's fans or players or coaches or media, they think, oh, the Broncos are so hurt by the injuries. But you don't think about how hurt the Chargers are. And I'm just saying the Chargers because they're the next team they play.
Totally.
Yeah, I mean, and the Chargers are also in a terrible spot. But
totally.
The thing is, like, even just Russell Wilson last night, like he's hurt after the game. It's a storyline. The second the game started, as far as I know, they didn't mention on the broadcast once, like, oh, he's banged up in practice this week.
He wasn't even on the injury report. They didn't even have a designation for him. So once they do that, they're telling me he's 100% fine. Now, obviously, no one is 100% fine really come week 1 of the season. But I you know me, Ryan. I just hate that.
Yeah, and to me, it's just like that's a massive part of winning and losing is the players that you had on the field. And the problem for the Broncos and Nathaniel Hackett and George Payton is just no one is going to give them the benefit of the doubt. At the end of the season, they're going to have a record, and everyone's going to say, that's what this team is. And that's just football. And I'm not saying it as an excuse or anything. I'm just saying, like, you get judged on the wins and losses. You don't get judged on the injuries that your team had.
Right. Happened to the Ravens last year.
Yep.
They lost most of their team at some point, like most injured by a mile. They win like 8 games. It's like, yep, that's just a really bad season. That's all it is.
But 8-9, pretty damn good for a really bad season.
Definitely.
Right now, I'm scared that the Broncos are not trending to 8-9.
I think 8-9 would be my pick today.
If they keep losing players like this every week, they're gonna.
If they keep playing the way they did last night. Plus the injuries, if you want to put that on. But I think we're going to have a good mix throughout the season, at the end of the season, of how you guys view the injuries, how I view them. I think it's going to be a good balance. One last thing on the injury front from me. Ron Darby, just like Garett Bolles, you saved $10 million by moving on from him after this year. Only $3 million in dead cap has Ronald Darby played his last snap with the Denver Broncos. And last year is his final year of the deal.
Multiple people have an audition to take his job from him.
That is true. That's how I see it.
And so we'll see what happens there.
Yep. That's a great point.
Yep.
Before we move on to more talk about last night's game, and at least I was able to get a semi rewatch in this morning. I got most of the game in, but then I ended up fast forwarding to the very end when all the action happened. So I missed like the middle of the third quarter. Anyways, I want to give a shout out to Athletic Greens. Our guy Ty tweeted at us this morning, said, hey, I'm on the Athletic Greens grind. He used my strategy, 1 ice cube in the mix.
Multiple ice cubes is okay. It also tastes good.
But the 1 ice cube, it melts.
Yeah, the ice cube melts, and you don't have to worry about it when you're chugging.
What about a little bit less water, 2 ice cubes, and shake it a little bit more, get even colder?
Maybe you could go slightly warmer water. Then go 2 ice cubes.
Wow.
My method is just putting it in a glass or shaking it up, then putting it in a glass, put some ice cubes, put a straw, chug it.
Allie's been using my
frothing
foam frother to mix it up even more.
I saw that on TikTok, and it makes it so much better because there isn't as many like little dots.
So you know how like when you go to Starbucks, you can get cold foam on the top of your drink? Did you not know that?
You don't know what
I think is that different than like I had like the pumpkin cream thing?
Yeah, that's the cold
It's
foam.
the same thing?
Yes.
Okay.
So like I have a little wand essentially that you just like take cream, you put whatever flavors you want in there, and then you mix it up.
Wow.
And you get your own cold foam. So Allie's been using that in her Athletic Greens to like mix it up even more. Essentially like
genius.
An immersion blender.
Yep. Yeah.
It makes it. I really like it, and then I check it out of a straw. It makes things.
Boom. So get some Athletic Greens. Be like Ty. It was needed today to just like get a fresh start on the day. Get some Athletic Greens. Feel like you're getting a clean, just a clean start to the day.
And you're gonna need a clean start to the day today and tomorrow, right before you check out the Hootenanny. But you got a code to tell us.
Make sure you go to athleticgreens.com/Broncos to get in on your Athletic Greens and all the great things that come along with it.
And then right after that, go to events.seated.com/Hootenanny22 or go to breckbrew.com to get your tickets to the Hootenanny, which is tomorrow and Sunday. Going to be an absolute blast. I believe we're looking at like 67 and sunny. That is a perfect day to go to the farmhouse and hang out with what they've got going on with the Hootenanny. And of course, drink so many Breck brews, so many different flavors, and get those tickets over at hootenanny.com or go to breckbrew.com and look for their Hootenanny.
No disrespect to Breck Brew. So many great Breck Brew weekends. This is gonna be. I feel like this is a hard liquor type of weekend.
I don't know, but on the other hand, it's like all college ball tomorrow, all NFL Sunday. That's a beer weekend.
It's
That's
always
true.
it's true. Just feels like maybe the doctor's ordering some of the harder stuff this weekend.
You're just pouring a little whiskey in the beer.
Today really feels like a hard liquor
whiskey
day
on the
because
rocks type of weather.
It's not only it's the weather too.
Yep, absolutely.
And the mood.
We talk a lot about the tailgates that we throw, which are a lot of fun. We're a couple weeks away from a tailgate,
Yeah.
but it's also probably about time to start planning your Nuggets party buses. The Nuggets are going to be insane this year. We don't need to go down this whole rabbit hole. I think they might be just the best team.
Ooh, love this take.
I think they're actually just going to be incredible. So I'm really excited. The party buses, though, we've talked about the tailgate party buses. It's essentially the same thing, except it comes with a ticket to the game. So there's a section of Nuggets fans. There's some Avs ones that are going to be on the way too. But there's 4 different games, so definitely check those out. I didn't get to go on any of those last year because I think like CU conflicted or I just planned late. I'm getting to those this year because it's going to be so much fun. I think there's one against the Jazz maybe, which I guess is just going to be a blowout this time.
Should be.
That's going to be a good time because I hate the Jazz. But yeah, we got the party buses. We've got the tailgates, obviously. We also have the bar. So come hang out and drink some beers with us while we wait for another tailgate and home game.
If you want to get hard liquor, it's the place to be.
Yeah, there you go.
Yes.
Okay, let's talk about the game last night.
No.
Do you guys feel better?
We start with the old question. Do you feel better or worse after rewatching the game? This one's hard for me because the first 55 minutes I actually feel better about.
Yeah.
The last 5 minutes I feel actually no. Why? The first 57 minutes and 30 seconds I feel better about. The last 2 minutes and 30 seconds I feel way worse about. And
Last
of
10
course,
minutes,
plus overtime. It's just one thing after another. We went over every single thing that happened last night, so we don't have to go through it in chronological order again. But the throw from Russ, way worse than I thought it was.
Which
obviously, good point. The interception in the end zone
I thought that's what you.
on the most asinine play call and decision from your $250 million quarterback into the play call's bad, the decision's bad, and you just sometimes hope that because you have that $250 million quarterback, you get away with it.
100%.
No, your $250 million quarterback made a egregiously bad throw on the play, and I thought last night, okay, it was kind of coming open. You can throw that. No. That is one look and get off of it.
Yep. God, that's bad. I hate it so much. Again, you're at the 13-yard line. Take a 7-yard sack. You're still making that field goal. Like, you can do whatever you want. Just don't turn the damn ball over. It's unbelievable that he made that decision. It's unbelievable how bad that throw is. It's the reason why I'm starting to get... yes, I am concerned about Russell Wilson. Like, it's the reason I'm concerned about Russell Wilson that last 2.5 minutes.
Yeah.
And that's very fair. And super quick, if you're watching on YouTube, make sure to hit us with a thumbs up. We'd really appreciate it. And vote in our poll. Which injury hurts the Broncos more, Bolles or Darby? We've got that one up there. Want to get everyone. What?
It says Bolles or Darib.
Darib?
Oh, jeez. That one actually just ended. There's 165 votes, and people said 67% of people said Bolles. But I'll probably put another one out here there. So
There we go.
Ooh,
So
spicy.
stay tuned and also hit us with a thumbs up. We'd really appreciate it.
So yeah, I mean that's gonna go down as the worst play of this season. I hope.
Yeah.
It doesn't get worse than that. Zach, what was the number? 99.2% or something?
99.1%.
99.1% of chance of winning, and that was after they got the fourth down or right before that play.
Right before.
So, literally, that is the definition of snatching defeat from the jaws of victory. You had more than a 99% chance of winning the game. Do you realize how bad that one play is? It's absolutely inexcusable, and something I'd like to hear Russell Wilson actually answer. I don't know if that's ever going to happen.
Nope.
But I would like to know what the hell he was thinking.
Next time we talk to Russell Wilson will be 1 week from yesterday. Next Thursday is when we talk to Russ next.
Yeah. That's a long time.
That is a long time, and I feel worse. And I felt pretty bad last night after the game. And I feel worse for two reasons. And one of them is really small, looking at just the very last play of the game. So many things went wrong there, which we can dive into a second. And the other reason, which is a bigger picture thing, I feel bad for Nathaniel Hackett because I think he has no power in this organization anymore. I think Jerry Rosburg, I think Nathaniel Hackett tipped it off pretty obvious last night when he was talking about that decision instead of kicking the field goal in overtime, but going for it on 4th and 1. He said, I was given the okay to go for it. That, to me, says that he's not just given information and then he decides what to do. He is told by Jerry Rosburg, you can go for this or you don't go for this.
It could have been a situation, though, where he said, hey, I want to go here. What do you think? And then he said, yeah, that's the move.
It could have been, but the way it came off, and this is a little bit of speculating, and I think that's fair for me to point out, is that Jerry Rosburg's the one making that decision. And also, we haven't talked about that hiring much, but Nathaniel Hackett, a couple days before they hired Jerry Rosburg, said they weren't going to bring anyone from outside in order to help him. Then they do. What happened in between there? He talked to George Payton, and he made that obvious. He talked to George Payton, and we thought, what's George Payton going to do to help him? George Payton gave him a guy, said, here's your guy. Nathaniel Hackett had never worked with Jerry Rosburg before, so I think that Nathaniel Hackett doesn't have, I'm concerned that he doesn't have power there. And the other way that just concerns me, with that last play, Nathaniel Hackett said, this is a play that Russ liked. So they met in the huddle.
Oh, yeah, it's very clear on the broadcast
that Russ is the one to make that decision.
Just that it was like a very like you see. I think at one point you see Hackett go pass, and then Russ says yes.
Yeah.
And so I think you're right. If you want, is there anything you want to finish on?
Just really quick is that so. I feel bad for Hackett because I always want coaches to fail or succeed by themselves, on their own terms. And we're only 5 games into this. And what do we talk about with Vance Joseph? He was set up to fail. He wasn't making any of these shots, these calls. He was just the one that was out there kind of doing what John Elway wanted him to do. I'm afraid that Nathaniel Hackett is already to the point where he's just the one now getting hit with all the missiles from bad things. Now, obviously, Hackett is not doing things right. I'm not trying to say he is without blame here.
He'd be 3-2 as a head coach if Russell Wilson didn't throw that pick.
Yeah, 100%. And so I'm concerned that this team isn't Nathaniel Hackett's.
That is only like one piece of it, though. It's like those sorts of decisions, because a lot of it is like, why did you hire Nathaniel Hackett? Because he's going to bring a good offense, because he knows how to run an offense. And I think 85% of his future with the Broncos is going to have to do with how does the offense perform? How many points you're scoring? Are you picking up yards? And that part of it does seem like it is mostly on his shoulders, if not like all on his shoulders. I guess 2-minute drills, it's Russ.
Really quick, though, if you're giving the most important part of the game to Russ, you're probably giving the least important parts of the game to Russ as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's bad. And the main reason I came away feeling bad about this and worse about it on the whole is something I talked about a little bit last night, but it is so obvious. There is a lack of trust everywhere you turn within this team. And it's not like malicious. It's the result of things happening. Nathaniel Hackett, I don't think he trusted, like when he was deciding whether to go for that 4th and 2 and run more clock or kick that field goal, I think there's a pit in his stomach saying, well, I'm not 100% sure that Brandon's going to make this field goal. When it's 4th and 1, I don't think Nathaniel Hackett wants to put the ball in Melvin Gordon's hands.
Right.
I mean,
Understandably so.
We didn't see him in overtime, right?
He caught the screen
Oh,
pass.
he did.
He did.
Melvin?
Yes.
He also ran at the couple plays.
Did
before.
Oh, yeah, the one where he tried to hurdle the dude.
That's right. He went upside
Which
down.
could have been so electric
Went
if he
upside
actually
down.
did it and scored the game-winning touchdown, and could have been the worst possible ending, even worse than what we saw happen. So
He's 4 feet in the air and he
the
just
ball's
throws
fly.
the ball.
I was legitimately like, the way he like front flipped.
Exactly.
I was thinking like, what if the ball just launched out of the back of the end zone?
I just
like,
remember
touchback.
sitting in the press box and like, yeah, you just don't want to see Melvin Gordon upside down ever. Like that is like the worst case scenario for this team is Melvin Gordon's
So,
upside down.
Real quick, does not trust Melvin on 4th and 1.
Yep.
He does trust
the
Russ
offensive line,
for
but yeah.
the most part. Russ doesn't trust anyone but Cortland.
Exactly, not KJ. That's the big one to me.
Bingo.
So every single thing, every web, every arm is a lack of trust from one person to another person. Now, guess what? KJ Hamler doesn't trust Russell Wilson.
100% not.
Russell Wilson doesn't trust Jerry Jeudy. You watch that throw that he throws to him on the wide open throwback. Great play design. I described it to RG. We were texting last night at like 3:45 a.m.
Damn, he's your late night buddy?
He texted me.
Wow.
I was up making my little meme that I tweeted out this morning with launching the Broncos
I haven't
offense.
been able to do it
It's
yet.
fun. It's fun. And I said he threw that like if you're playing catch with like your friend's son who's like a toddler and you don't want them to get hit in the face with the ball or anything, so you throw it as soft as you possibly can so they can like try to catch it. That's how Russ threw that, because I don't think he trusts Jerry. So no one trusts anyone. They don't trust the offensive line, and the only thing that can be trusted is the defense. So that is the biggest worry for me, is like these feelings don't just go away. You can't just like force someone to trust another person. Trust is earned. Right. No one wants to trust anyone right now.
It's a fantastic point. Really quick, now that I thought of it, when you did the rewatch, were you able to see Andrew Beck's kick?
No.
Oh my dude, it's the must watch play.
It's the best play of the game.
Did anyone tweet it?
It is
we can't play it on here.
insane. It is insane. So you gotta let me know when you watch it.
I missed that play on the rewatch. When was that? Was it in the third quarter?
Was it the third quarter?
They were
I don't even
going
remember.
that way,
So much happened.
so it must have been.
Yeah, you're right.
It must
Same
have
way
been,
as
yep.
overtime.
You're
yeah.
right. But can we take a look at that final play of the game? Because why I'm more worried is just how many things went wrong on it. First off, you line up and no one's over the center. We talked about this last night. Just sneak the damn ball. So easy. So I just don't. There should always be one of just this.
Is Russ one of those no sneak quarterbacks?
I hope not, because you have to have that in your arsenal. Tom Brady does a lot of things really well, but one of the things that he does exceptionally well is sneak the ball, not because he's like a good tiny guy that can slither around people. No, it's just because he's not afraid to do what seems so simple of just like run up to the line, no one's there, you have a little audible call that you make right away, boom, you get
Turn your legs and move forward.
Exactly. Russell Wilson could have easily got that, so don't like that. And then what have we heard this week and really the past 2 weeks? Why has red zone been so bad for the Broncos? Because they've abandoned the run. Before, what was it? The 49ers game, I think it was 17 passes to 4 rushes in the red zone. The Broncos identified that, came out, looked better these past couple of weeks. So now you have 4th and 1. Is it 4th and 2 or 4th and 1?
It's 4th and you're talking about in overtime?
The very last play. Yeah,
4th and 3/4 of a yard.
So less than 4th and 1, and you line up in shotgun.
I hate
you
that
line
so
up in
much.
shotgun in the formation that just has
Did
not
it on
worked
third
for you.
and 2 as well without a shotgun.
Exactly, and so it's just like, what are you doing? You told me this doesn't work. Now it's worked once when Russ kept the ball last week.
I thought that was the play call. I really did on 4th and 1. I was like, Russ keeper. Maybe even give him a little.
So many people in there.
I know. Well, that's it. All that matters is getting the edge to bite.
Yep. So that I didn't like as well. I obviously didn't like how it just seemed like they were doing whatever Russ wanted in terms of the play call. And then the play itself, one part of it was designed so perfectly. It was the right side to KJ Hamler. But, Ryan, you said this. Russell Wilson trusts one guy.
Yes.
And that's Cortland Sutton.
It never looked off of him the entire play.
Never looked off of him. Why aren't you running the play
for Cortland
to just get Cortland open? If that's the guy that Russ wants to throw to, then run the play where Cortland's on the right, or if Cortland's going to be on the left, run that rub route where Cortland's that guy. That makes no sense to me. You ran a play that Russ likes, but you didn't run it how Russ wants it to be run. And again, I don't know if that's Hackett, I don't know if that's Russ, but just mind-blowing.
And this is, if you were going to throw to Cortland, there's just one thing you have to do against that defense. It's just pretend you're going to throw to KJ.
Right.
Because there's a single high safety.
Right.
He is going where your eyes go. First chance, because he thinks, just like we talked about, he thinks this ball's coming out fast. So it's not like I got to sit back here and wait till I see what's happening. No, wherever your eyes go first, he's going with them.
And he did.
And he did. Because the second Russ snaps it, he looks left. Safety is right in his passing lane immediately. If Russ just looks right first, he might just see KJ wide open and throw it to him. Or at least he's going to have the one-on-one with Cortland and Stephon Gilmore, which
Hey, that's
I don't know
the
why
thing.
he wants it in the first place.
Exactly.
But it's the only thing he had any interest in going to on that play. Just mind-boggling.
Yeah.
In that one, that's I can't say it's more concerning than the interception because that just makes no sense.
Yep.
But it's highly concerning because that's like legitimately, if you go watch like Cherry Creek play tonight, you're gonna see their quarterback, if he gets a single high look off the safety.
Right.
Yep. I mean, again, even if the safety wasn't there, Stephon Gilmore was all over that. Like, that ball was not getting through. He was all over that. He was going to go all the way across the field with Cortland if he had to. He was in front of it. He got that arm in front. Just a nice, clean breakup from one of the best cornerbacks in the game. And people forget because he's 32
Defensive
now.
Player of the Year 2 years ago.
Yeah, five-time
yeah.
Pro Bowler, two-time All-Pro, led the NFL in interceptions. So you lob one up against Tyree Cleveland against him. So, I mean,
I feel like
yes, Cortland's your good player. Stephon Gilmore is much better than Cortland Sutton.
Yes.
That's a minus matchup.
Especially in the red zone where Stephon Gilmore, you
the
said
speed,
he's 32
yeah.
years old. Yeah, the speed's completely gone. The speed advantage is gone there, so you don't have that anymore.
it's wild to me the way they went at Stephon Gilmore of all places to go.
Yeah, and then on top of that, as the play continued, obviously he missed a wide open KJ Hamler. We've preached on that so bad. But then Russ throws it, and I honestly don't know. Maybe he was throwing that ball to KJ. Maybe he was throwing it to Cortland, but you can't really tell because he just threw it into a crowd of people.
He just
which
threw it
is-
as hard as he could. I think it was to Cortland, but
Yeah,
I
Gilmore
think,
got that
I
hand
think
in there.
so too. But then Russ had time. It's
Yes.
not like because, and Hank, you said this yesterday, Russ can't take a sack. He has to throw the ball. But it's not like the pressure was beating down on him where he just had to throw it. No, he had time to do other things.
And again, I maybe this happens more around the league, and I'm off here. I don't understand why you would ever run a rub route on the backside of the play.
You're just asking for a penalty.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because even if you get Cortland open there and you hit him, if that was the primary read on the play, there's a decent chance that gets called back for pass interference on something that didn't even impact the play. So if you're going to go and run that rub, then 100% of the time you're throwing it to that because you're taking the risk. You're saying, we dare you to throw a flag here.
He was open for so long, too. It's crazy.
But
Like,
I
right
just-
off the snap, he's open. He takes a couple more steps in, he's open. He goes up in the end zone, he's open. There's a second where he's covered again. He's coming open behind that guy again afterward, though. It's brutal to watch that play.
And I have to know, like, if Russ is calling the plays, why would he want that one of all? Like, if the play is to go to Cortland, why would he want that one?
I have no idea. It does not make sense.
I
And
almost
if
wonder if that's
Hackett's
supposed
calling
to
the
be-
play, then I just think that Hackett called that play for KJ Hamler,
Right.
and Russ said, "There's no way I'm throwing the ball to KJ Hamler right now."
And then how are they that off page, especially with back-to-back timeouts called?
Yeah, it's mind-boggling, and all the while you just put Andrew Beck in at fullback and run the damn ball.
Oh, please.
Because I've got all these people tweeting at me saying KJ was open, which means it was a good play. Because I said shotgun on 4th and 1 game on the line. That's stupid. They're going for I don't want to even understand why the touchdown was even a thought.
You didn't need it.
Just get the first down.
Yes.
Get 4 more plays to win the game. If you get so essentially it's a full yard, but the back of the ball is at the first
yard.
is at the 1 yard. So it's like a yard minus a ball is where it was, and
2 feet.
exactly 2 feet. You don't the end zone. I would have never even considered the end zone on the play. Getting the first down and resetting.
And then you know what? Obviously, if you score a touchdown, you're happy you just won the game. But if you just get the first down, you are guaranteeing yourself, barring a terrible turnover, that the worst case is you tie. Because you decide to kick a field goal if you get a sack or
flag
something.
or-
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, 100%, Ryan, you just go for the first down.
Yep. And
Yeah,
you absolutely go under center in that situation. I do see the slight appeal of just lining up like they did and saying this is very obviously man coverage across the board.
Yes.
There's a safety in the middle.
Free.
That's exactly what is happening there. And
you had
I still don't like it, but I do see how you say, okay, we're just giving the ball to Russ, man coverage everywhere. They have one guy helping in the middle.
I gotta know.
Still just run.
I gotta know from Nathaniel Hackett because if the play design was if we see single high, got a rub route on the right, It's a beautiful play, and it was going to work so easily.
Yep.
And I want to know, like, candid from Nathaniel Hackett, did Russell Wilson just completely botch the play? Because that's what I think happened. And then I'm like, because what I was about to say is, this is your 2-point conversion stuff. You haven't had to go to it at all. So this is your
bag.
Right. Your whole bag is available. And even like good teams just have their 4th and 1 big conversion plays. There's no way that if Cortland's the primary read on that play, that's one of them. Like you're even and this is where I think there might be a little bit of Nathaniel Hackett also not trusting himself. Like, do you have the Travis Kelce where you line up in shotgun and then you motion them in and they get under center and sneak it? I love that.
Yeah.
But I don't know if Nathaniel Hackett believes in himself at this point to call a quote unquote cheeky trick play in a situation like that.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've ever even seen that play not work.
Yeah, he'd get ripped apart though.
If Alberto fumbles it, or Eric Tomlinson, or Cortland Sutton,
Oh my
whoever
God,
it is.
they need a tight
right.
end so badly. That might be the biggest hole on this team right now.
Don't worry, Greg Dulcich is coming back. The savior.
I mean, hell, he can't be worse.
He can be.
I don't know that he
be.
can.
Yep, he can. He's a rookie tight end. I mean,
But
that's
all-
like the
ugh.
worst position to be a rookie and having not played.
Nobody can block. Nobody can catch. Just do one of the two.
It's a fresh set of eyes of someone who maybe Russell Wilson could trust.
Yeah,
At least he's
potentially.
clean.
Yeah,
He hasn't
exactly.
been tainted yet.
Right.
So I'm pretty sure the only time Russ threw to him in camp was a touchdown.
Yeah,
so.
it was a good thing. He
could
made a good
use-
read on it. Not just Russ, but Dulcich.
Dulcich, yep. And one thing just that brought up in my mind of positives is the Broncos figured out some counters to the fact that everyone's crashing anytime they want to run play action, and it was that play to Salbert that they ran 3 different times, which essentially instead of rolling out, Russ just stops and slides it in there to him. Every single time would have been a first down if just Eric Salbert caught it.
Yeah.
It was 2 first downs on that play. The screen stuff, they're running that screen right into that hole that opens up when they're trying to crash those edges. That was beautiful. I would have called it 20 times.
Yep. Colts, according to Twitter, I don't know this for sure, but like all the national weird football nerds were saying like, yeah, why don't people just run screens against the Colts every play? They
Yeah.
never know what they're doing. So part of that is like Colts. So in terms of projecting
I'm
for the
just
future,
saying
but
last
you should have
night,
done it.
every single time they ran
Oh,
that
yeah.
little slip screen right into that same hole that opens up when the edge crashes outside because they don't want to let Russ get out of the pocket.
Yep.
It was not just like a first down every time. It was a big gain every time.
Mike Boone.
Run it until they literally stand there at the line to not let that happen.
And you know who that would have pumped up more than anyone?
Me?
You're not going to guess. Dalton Reisner. Bless you, Allie. Did you guys
Bless
see
you.
Dalton Reisner after that screen from Boone? Dalton Reisner do a karate chop kick.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man, he was amped.
Can you imagine if he pulls a hammy on that?
Oh, God. I mean, it'd be fitting.
It would be.
I know. That's
Yeah.
and man, they got down there so easily. 2 plays in overtime. Best 2 play calls of the night, back to back.
Yeah.
And to blow it and just bog down in the red zone like that. Shotgun run, 3rd and 2. Go back to, I don't even care if they've seen this on film. Go back to the exact same play that you scored the touchdown on with Melvin against the 49ers.
Yep.
Blocked it perfectly.
Yep.
Beck was awesome.
Beck was
Melvin finished the run.
Yep.
I'd run that on 3rd and 2, and then if
Yep.
it didn't work, I'd run a counter of it on 4th and 1.
Yep, I completely agree. And one thing Melvin was doing when his knee wasn't touching the ground, he was holding on to the damn ball for dear life.
He was. Which, yeah, I actually had a premonition. Thank God it didn't come true. Right before the 4th and 1, where I'm like, he's gonna think it's like so important to get the 1. He's gonna like extend the ball and fumble it.
Or the opposite. He has the opportunity to extend the ball to clearly get the first down, but instead he keeps both hands
he
on
hugs
it
it.
and comes inches short.
That is true. Melvin, the way he was carrying that ball.
Yeah.
It's like a
Very
4th and 2,
stubborn.
really.
He's like, I'll show you guys.
That was a 4th and 2 for Melvin because that top half of the body does not count.
Still feel like zone read keeper would have also worked.
Yeah, pretty much everything but that.
Because, like you said, Henry, there were a lot of people in the box, but they're all condensed.
Yeah.
There wasn't a lot of
At the
edge
same
play.
time, there's like 5 guys on the line, so your blockers are gone.
Yeah.
You got the 2 linebackers, 1 in man, 1. And it could have worked.
RPO, I mean.
So many things.
They let Russ cook. That was the
Let
moral of the
Russ
story.
cook.
In big moments, they let Russ cook. They put the ball in the star quarterback's hands.
I really think the biggest thing that has changed that we haven't seen yet is any I shouldn't say any, but it's just Russ magic. When we talk,
yeah.
when Russell Wilson got traded to the Broncos, the first like 50 thoughts I have are Russ running around doing crazy stuff at the end of the, in the fourth quarter to make plays out of nothing. And like you've seen a couple like important scrambles.
49ers is the Russ magic.
Yes.
And it hasn't even been crazy like you're saying.
Right. The Kendall Hinton play is like the one play. That's like the full Russ experience where he runs around, he finds a guy that's only open because they made eye contact and he starts coming.
And it's 3rd and 18.
And so like last night when they snapped the ball and I just see it's in the shotgun and it's clearly covered where he's looking, I'm just thinking like, all right, here we go.
Yep.
He's going to break out and all hell's going to break loose and he's either going to run it or someone's going to come wide open on the backside and he just stood there in the pocket.
Matt Ryan, he's a statue.
Yes, that's the most shocking thing to me, and it's the biggest difference between what we thought we were getting with Russell Wilson and what we actually got.
100%. And I really hope that that's just Nathaniel Hackett and Russell Wilson haven't meshed yet. I hope it's not Russ can't do that anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, when he ran last night, he looked very capable of it.
He looked fine.
Yep.
He looked fine. I have no idea what this offense is going to look like at the end of the season. Because I think coming into this week, there were 3 teams that were under center more than the Broncos have been. I also think they've been at their best when they're under center. And so do they just go away from that and say, like, oh, we're shotgun, we're letting Russ cook? Or everything is up in the air at this point because they don't have any answers. Nothing feels like it's working.
And that's the most disappointing part from a Nathaniel Hackett standpoint is this offense has no identity.
No.
None.
No.
What do? I don't even know.
They don't score points.
Yeah, the outside zone stuff isn't working, and because of that, there's no play action that's working off of it. They're not winning. I mean, even if they are winning one-on-one matchups, they aren't getting to the ball to those guys. I mean, like Jerry Jeudy on the first 3rd down of the game does exactly what we thought we would see Jerry Jeudy do every single game 4 or 5 times. Just shakes a guy so easily on a slant route, gets wide open, easy conversion. But what do? I always say play calling is storytelling. You're telling a story to the defense. You're trying to set it up. You're trying to build. You're writing a lead to set up something that pays off later in the article. And right now it just feels like they're scribbling on a blank piece of paper.
Yep, just playing one play at a time or even like
Yes.
half a play behind what they're doing. And we talked to Nathaniel Hackett today, and he was asked if he's going to change the way he builds this offense. And Hackett said to benefit Russ more by going under center and doing things like that. And he said, we built this as a mix between my offense and his offense, and pretty much said like that's not going to change. And I asked him if there's going to be any major changes because especially they have 10 days until their next game. And he said everything is going to be evaluated. We'll see. Sometimes that means something's changed. A lot of times in the NFL, it means nothing's changed.
Yeah.
This is I don't know if it's ever worked the whole like, oh, it's a mix of my offense and his offense.
Yeah.
Remember Gary Kubiak has Peyton Manning running out, like they're trying to go out of pistol because Peyton's like, I don't go under center.
Yeah.
and Kubiak's like, well, I run out from under center. They're like, all right, compromise. We're going to run pistol.
Yeah.
Which just seems so silly having
Yeah,
Peyton
it does.
Manning anywhere but standing as far away from the line of scrimmage as you possibly can so he
Yeah.
could see everything.
Yeah.
And then, by the end of it, Kubiak finally just like waves the white flag. He's like, we're doing it your way.
Yep. Just smart.
And like that's what it has to be. I think choose one or the other. I would honestly choose Nathaniel Hackett at this point. Give me your offense.
Oh.
Yeah. I would too.
Again, it's kind of what you talk. Live and die by what you do.
Fair.
And
That's fair.
you got to get Russ out of the pocket.
I don't.
The problem is these naked boots are not working at all. And so you need to assign like a blocker to the edge on that side, which means you lose the numbers advantage coming back. But I feel like that's kind of your only hope is you just have to commit to it and overload that side with blockers and get him out in space and run 2 receivers downfield and let him hit one of them.
Well, and you can even do like delayed releases for those guys, but you absolutely need someone crashing into that end to
Yep.
stop them from getting outside. But the thing is, I've now lost my trust in Russ in terms of what his motivation is. The fact that he throws up all the Tyree Cleveland is just like it broke my heart. Like because it's just like, oh, I can't trust you. I don't think you were thinking what's the best thing to win the game.
Yeah.
I think you were thinking, I need to get a touchdown pass tonight.
So that quote
I didn't
from
have
an
that thought.
anonymous source in the Seahawks when they said at some point in the game a couple of years ago,
What are we trying to do here?
yep, we trying to win an MVP. Does that kind of flicker in your mind with the play like that?
That it does, because I feel like if he was in his right mind of just I'm doing what I'm doing to win the game, you fake that handoff, you glance over and you see that Stephon Gilmore is trailing Tyree Cleveland, and you just say like, okay, anything but that.
Yep, self-sack.
Yeah, or just run. I mean, it's not like he was under pressure.
That's true.
Do anything, but bail off of that immediately, and then I don't know what happened on the last play, so I don't know whose play call that was, what they wanted. But to me, again, it's just like if Nathaniel Hackett's asking Russ, what do you want to do? He's not going to say, I want to run the ball into the teeth of the defense, which who knows? That could have gotten stuffed, and we'd be sitting here saying, you should have let Russ cook.
Yeah.
You know, like that's just how it works.
Exactly. We've flipped on that so many times over the last month and a half.
But
It's like you just gotta let Russ do his thing. You gotta let him make the calls, but also like you might make the calls. He's gonna call pass. It's
but
like,
there's more nuance to it. It's like 4th and 5 against the Seahawks, throw the ball.
Right.
4th and 1, run the ball.
Yep.
I don't feel like it's like that crazy to be like, oh, you said let Russ cook then, but now you don't want him to cook. I'm like, no, because the situation is entirely different.
Yep.
So I worry. I do. If I'm Nathaniel Hackett, I'm saying like, we're doing it my way now.
Yeah.
yeah. I will say I'm not worried about the stat chasing. I don't think that's what it was.
What is he doing there then?
I think he's playing hero ball. He thinks I'm the star
kind of the same
quarterback. I need the
problem.
ball in
Yeah,
my
I
hands.
think
But
it
different.
is
The
the
motivation is different though. It's not stat chasing. It's I
want to make
think
the
the
big
best
play.
chance is for me to have the ball in my hands, regardless of there's a 70% chance of picking up a 4th and 1 with a run versus a 50% chance of doing it with a pass. I think it's not motivated by the stats, although it does kind of sometimes lead to the same thing where it's just, I need the ball in my hands because I'm the star quarterback. And to be fair, that's what you brought him in here to be.
And I'm fine with that if he can make the right read and do the right thing.
Totally.
But like you don't expect when you have Russell Wilson that you have to come into it onto the headset on 3rd and 4 on the 13-yard line when you're up 3 with 2 minutes left. You don't expect to have to say, hey, if it's not there, throw it away or take a sack.
Yeah. He's $250 million should get you that.
You think that should be obvious. In Russ, again, there was a window. But it's such a tight window that there's absolutely no reason to throw that pass there. And I almost feel like Stephon Gilmore baited him into a little bit the more I watch it. He's I'm going to trail a little bit, and then as soon as I see him load up, I'm going to burst. And that's exactly what happened because Tyree Cleveland isn't very fast, isn't fast enough to separate from Stephon Gilmore.
And there's nowhere to run. Like he trails him when they're in the end zone. 'Cause it's like, run into the stands, have fun. I'm just going to sit right here and run horizontally instead.
And that's just that's what you expect to happen to Drew Lock.
Right. Yep. Stephon Gilmore must have been shocked that ball ever came his way with Tyree. He probably said, well, I'm on an island with Tyree Cleveland. It's not coming my way.
Yeah. And good on him to he's like, maybe the only way it's coming here is if I trick him into throwing it here.
Ryan, I agree with you and disagree with you on two different things. I do lean more toward you about I do question Russ a little bit, especially, and it does help that there's been questions in the past about this from him. So that makes me think shit, were they right about this? Yeah. So I lean toward you on that. What I disagree about is Russell Wilson's a $250 million quarterback. Quarterback's the most important thing. You build this offense. Nathaniel Hackett, get rid of your ego. Get rid of your playbook. Do everything for Russell Wilson because I think you have a better chance of succeeding by just giving Russ his playbook than by forcing your playbook on him. I see what you're saying about let Nathaniel Hackett succeed his way, but I just think the best way for Hackett to succeed is by just saying, shit, Russ, be you, man.
I just think that Russell Wilson's playbook is literally all passes.
Yeah, well, you're right.
Yeah.
Because he should have that mentality. I want the ball in my hands on every play.
Right.
I feel like it's always better with me. So I understand him for that reason. But again, if Nathaniel Hackett looks to Russ and says, what do you want to do on 4th and 1? No way he says hand the ball off to Melvin Gordon. 0% chance.
No. Which is bad.
Yes.
Peyton would run the ball.
Well, Peyton would say, give me, and Peyton probably would have been a shotgun too, because he always was.
Yeah, that's fair.
But he would have said, let's run the rub on this side, which they did almost every time they were in the red zone. And if they give me a run look, I'll run into it. And he would.
Right.
Whatever the better thing was, he would take that chance.
And that's what you felt so good about Peyton is, okay, it doesn't matter what the defense gives you. Peyton is going to find the best play against that defense, and it's not always going to work, but you're going to have the best chance. And just last night, so many different times in that 1 4th and 1 play, it just didn't feel like the Broncos had the best chance.
Totally. And to get more specific about like catering the offense to Russ, that's getting guys downfield. You need 2 guys running downfield every single play. Like that is where he's at his best. No more of the short stuff where sometimes the accuracy's been a little hit or miss. Get 2 receivers downfield every time. Give him some deep options because that's what opens up the guys underneath anyway. So you might as well just go for it. Like use him to his strengths instead of saying like, here's your West Coast. Oh, we're going to stretch him. We're going to put 3 guys on this side where there's 2 defenders. Like it makes sense football wise. It's not Peyton Manning though. It's Russell Wilson. So that's not something that he's good at it. He's not a Hall of Famer at that sort of stuff. He's Hall of Famer going downfield. So get him outside the pocket, run guys deep. Now it's tough when you can't block anybody, so you don't have time for any of the deep routes to develop anyway. And so I don't know how you make all of these things work together, but that's where I start to say, you know what, we're going deep, and if he gets sacked, Russ, get out of it.
Yeah, deep ball wasn't there last night, and that's the one thing that I look and say maybe that had to do with the shoulder. The shoulder should be as good as it's going to be this season next week against the Chargers. So I'll be watching a close eye on how the deep ball accuracy looks like. You didn't even get one opportunity to Cortland. There was one that they tried. Ball wasn't even near him.
He ran the wrong way.
Speaking of the Chargers, Keenan Allen officially
back-to-back plays.
You're talking about the one
left sideline,
the fade on the left sideline.
That
Cortland
one was the first one was over his head. They tried it again, and he broke inside.
Yeah.
Yep.
Those were also that was bad.
Those are terrible throws.
Very bad throws and clear miscommunications. I mean, really bad. And the Chargers, Keenan Allen ruled out for another week this week, so maybe he won't be back for the Broncos game. We will see, but there's a lot of games this weekend, and if you want to get in on the action, check out our friends over at DraftKings Sportsbook. Place a $5 money line bet on any NFL team this week, and when you do, you will get $200 in your account and free bets, which you can use on any game. Man, if you're just hanging out, wanting to watch football all weekend, you have 8 $25 free bets. That is a great way to spend your money, not even your money, DraftKings money, in order to make some winnings, have some fun, get your account going, and you got to check out the same game parlays that they've going on because that's so much fun. For a Sunday night game or something when there's only one game on, you got to get in, check out DraftKings Sportsbook. Even for college football. No, sorry, Ryan, you can't lose money, win money on the Buffs this week, so you don't have to worry about them, but a lot of good other college ball.
What are the Rams up to?
They play tonight at 8:30.
Oh, against who?
Against
UNLV?
a team. No, Nevada.
Oh,
I believe Nevada's only a 3-point favorite.
This is gonna be a new low.
Wow.
Losing to Jay Norvell's former school.
Yes, this will be a fun one.
Yeah.
Wow.
So you can get in on that. I've had multiple CSU Rams, not players, but fans say to me, they're only underdogs by 3 points. We got to smash Nevada.
It's incredible.
Here.
They thought they took all of Nevada's good players.
Yeah.
And I imagine Nevada has at least a win or two. So
I don't think I think they're also in that bottom 10. No, Nevada's down there. Utah State's down there. Hawaii's down there. So like CSU has some
Nevada's
opportunities.
2-3.
2 and 3, really?
They're humming.
They must have picked things up. They must have picked things up.
They're the Broncos.
So let's just look at Nevada really quick, just because I feel like it. Beat New Mexico State 23-12.
Yeah.
Beat Texas State 38-14. This one's gonna hurt. Lost to Incarnate Word.
Dude, no way.
Yeah.
What state is that in?
Oh gosh, I actually know the answer to this.
I'm gonna say Northeast.
I believe it's in
More
Louisiana.
Southeast, yeah.
Oh,
More one of the Carolinas.
Bible Belt
okay,
vibes.
now we're kind of just taking the East Coast.
Yes.
Incarnate Word.
I would say like
INCARNATE.
Dude,
I'm
this
confident
is
with like
not real.
north of the southeast and south of the northeast, just kind of like mid-east. You never hear about the mid-east.
So like the Carolinas.
You hear about a different Mideast.
Yeah. Oh, that's
I
true.
got
That's
it.
true.
I got it.
Where
So
is it?
last
Are
year,
you gonna give final guesses?
Yeah, I'm going Northeast.
Give me South Carolina.
Okay.
I'm gonna stick with Louisiana.
All wrong.
California.
San Antonio, Texas.
Wow.
Interesting. They've got some vibes.
Which one was I thinking of? They CU played a team. I don't know.
So,
anyways,
wow.
they lost 55-41 to Incarnate
Oh my
Word.
god.
Cam Ward, their quarterback last year, was just insane. He threw for like 5,500 yards or something. Transferred to Washington, and now Washington State. There we go. And now he's just like the most divisive quarterback in college football. Like some people hate him. Some people say he only runs. Some people are like, yeah, this guy's the next like Kyler Murray.
Just to finish the Nevada story, 27-0 to Iowa and 48-20 to Air Force.
So they're 0-3.
Oh, in their last three.
Yikes.
And getting blown out 3 games in a row.
Yikes. Well, if they have a chance to get back on the right side against CSU, you can probably get in on that game. I know you can get on that game over at DraftKings Sportsbook. So head to the App Store now, download the top-rated DraftKings Sportsbook app now, and use promo code DNVR when you sign up to get those $200 in free bets when using the code DNVR and placing a $5 moneyline bet on any NFL game. See the terms and restrictions in our show notes.
Buffs are on bye.
Yep.
CSU has a chance to take back that number 1 spot.
Yep.
Yeah, or further distance themselves.
Or that is true. I'll believe that when I see it. Also, we have our friends over at the American Raptors. Is today game day?
Is it tomorrow?
I think tomorrow's game day.
the
Tomorrow's
7th,
game day.
so-
Tomorrow's game day. Taking on the U23 team from, might have heard of them, the United States of America.
I've heard of them.
Yeah, they're a pretty talented group over there. It's going to be a battle. You can watch the game at AmericanRaptors.com. They'll get you all set up with that sort of stuff. You can also get free tickets to watch them play their home games when they come back here. That isn't for a couple more weeks, I believe. But the American Raptors trying to get guys on a U.S. national team. A little in-house battle going up against America here. Follow along with DNVR Rugby, Colton Strickler, our guy. Just a good time.
It's like the in-house battle between CU and CSU for that top spot.
Yes,
Wow.
absolutely.
Everybody's calling that the Rocky Mountain Showdown of rugby.
Real quick, before we get into comments, super chats, and all that good stuff, just wanted to say how much I appreciate our community. Last night, obviously a rough night for everyone.
Oh, yeah.
But I got a message from one of our listeners just talking about how much of an impact we've made on them. They used to love football, talking football with their dad, lost their dad in 2020. Basically said, this show is the only thing that stopped me from letting go of football entirely. So just that kind of stuff is like, makes such a difference in just remembering what really matters and stuff. And then also got a message from my guy Jonathan today who said he's 12, he just moved, having a hard time with the move, but our show keeps his spirits up every day. So it's just like,
Jonathan.
man, how could you be in a bad mood when people say these types of things?
It's so cool.
So
Giving
true.
me goosebumps. And one of the awesome things about this is I've covered one winning team and really wasn't even doing the podcast full time then. And so I have not covered on a daily basis doing this pod with a winning team and still have had a blast. Now, I hope that changes this year, and I can't imagine how much fun we're going to have, but such a cool community. Shout out to Des, met her last night. So many people met at the tailgate. Shout out to everyone and people in the comment section. We love you guys tuning in, whether you're on the podcast form or on YouTube.
Boom. All right, let's talk to the people.
Got some super chats.
Let's go.
Ooh,
First
spicy.
one from Court, who says, what do you guys think the exchange between Russ and Richard Sherman would have been like if the Broncos had won and Russ sat with the TNF post-game panel instead of Matt Ryan? I don't think Russ would have done it.
I was gonna say the same thing. I don't think Russ sits next to him.
It would have been like whoever caught the touchdown
KJ
pass.
Hamler after the
Yeah.
wide open touchdown pass.
I think Russ shuts him down.
Yeah.
I mean, if he's shutting Kyle Brandt down, then I think he's shutting Richard Sherman down.
Unless Russ, I just don't know because we've never seen it from him. Like if he has the balls to go up there and be like, "What are you talking
Look
about
me in the
now?"
eye. Yeah.
Oh man,
That could be the
so
other way.
Good.
Might have gotten a Draymond, Jordan Poole situation.
Oh.
And then you have
Wouldn't want that.
Andrew Whitworth come in and break the two
Yeah,
up.
exactly.
Wow.
Yeah, actually, those would be the two smallest guys on the set, Russ and Richard.
Yeah,
Because
probably.
you also have
Crazy.
Tony Gonzalez.
Yep.
Ryan Fitzpatrick
Oh, okay, maybe Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Ryan
He's like
Fitzpatrick
6'3", 6'4", though.
needs
Okay.
his beard to be less groomed.
Less groomed.
Yes, it's like too
Dude,
perfect.
Okay.
Huh.
It's pretty long.
Like
though.
every edge is like perfectly.
You're
Just
right.
let it grow. Like if you're gonna be a
Yeah.
full beard guy, let it just grow.
Yeah.
Grow.
Yes,
Wow,
exactly.
you should sing to him.
Oh yeah.
Anyways, good question. Next one.
The Boogmeister says, "What happened to running the ball? You're at the 1 yard line. My goodness, run the ball, please. Stop going shotgun in the red zone. It isn't working. Never has."
Totally. I totally agree with all of that. And the running the ball in the red zone, absolutely. But wasn't it last week we were talking about, like, you got pass more because the run isn't working? Like, it's 50-50. Whatever they do more doesn't work. And so the little glimmers of hope you see from the other side, you're just like, oh, I should have done more of that. And it's like, no, that wouldn't have worked either.
To be fair, though, they have had more success in the red zone when they
Definitely.
have ran it more.
Definitely.
And when they've had that emphasis. And just don't run the ball from shotgun.
If Latavius
Yeah.
Murray didn't play in London last week, does he get that carry?
Russ wanted that ball.
Yeah, fair
Russ
enough.
wanted that ball.
6'3", 220.
He's so
Bowling ball his way through.
I didn't realize, like, the first time I saw him in the locker room, I was like, oh,
Yeah.
whoa.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Looks like a like a edge.
Yeah, he really
Big,
does.
bulky. Yeah. oof.
Todd Rosenboom says, "Here's a gift from my wife who is thankful you guys are my outlet for venting about the Broncos so she doesn't have to listen to it."
Thanks, Todd's wife.
Yeah, thanks, Mrs.
Appreciate you.
Rosenberg.
Rosenboom.
Yes.
Not Jerry Rosberg's wife.
Wow.
He gets to vent into Nathaniel
Drama.
Hackett's headset all night. Dylan Smith says, "I really hope Browning injury isn't serious because our defense really took the step back. When he was out. He has a bright future. He really does have a bright future. Also, it's not day to day. That's like the best injury we had today. So
Yep, it is, and you have 10 days off.
yeah,
That's a good thing. It sucks for all of us that we have to sit in this loss for even longer, but it's good for his injury.
6 quarterback hits last night. Nobody else in the NFL has done that this season.
Incredible.
is there like a college team that plays like next Wednesday or something that we can all just like latch onto and pretend like, oh, that's the next game?
Well, we can latch on. I was gonna say a Monday night game, but we can't latch on to the Raiders or the Chiefs.
We just needed something to
That
break it
sucks.
up in the middle
Yeah.
of next
Yeah.
week and be like, oh, what, you guys didn't know our squad? They play tonight.
We can all hop on the Washington Commanders
Yeah.
next Thursday.
Our guys, the
Bears,
Commanders.
Commanders.
Bears?
Good
Oh,
Bears,
God.
Commanders next
Did
week.
you guys see what the Commanders tweeted
What?
No, what did they tweet?
last night? They said something like, "Wow, watching this Thursday night football game is like watching the Commanders play the Commanders."
No.
That can't be real.
There's no way. There's no way.
That person's fired.
No,
Has to
Allie
be.
fell for a fake
There
tweet.
was
Oh
a
my gosh.
tweet that said, "Who let Iowa play Iowa on Thursday night football?" I love that one
That's
too.
pretty good. Did you guys see Tom Brady? It was yesterday before the game in his press conference when asked about
Yes,
like how
he
many
was right,
there's
too.
so many 2-2 teams. He's like, I've just seen a lot of bad football. I want to quote tweet that, and I meant to in saying this was before the Broncos Colts
Yep.
game.
Yeah. I also saw someone say like, please, for the love of God, no more Broncos on primetime. Oh no, buddy. We're just getting started.
Oh, yeah.
Actually, not quite. I mean, 3 out of 5
Yep.
are done.
3 out of
Next
5.
week.
Plus
but
London.
Plus London.
Plus, I don't think that even includes the Christmas.
Oh, plus
True.
Christmas.
So you get to end your Monday night in a couple of weeks. You get 1 week off then with the Jets, and then you get to start your day with the Broncos in London.
Jeez.
And then
The
a bye
Broncos
week.
keep getting these opportunities to like kill narratives about themselves, and then they just make them worse.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yep.
Although I
think
guess they
it
did
might
win the
have
Sunday
been
night
the
game.
SB Nation account.
Okay.
I was like half
Like the
asleep.
Commanders, SB Nation.
Yes.
Right,
Okay.
right,
Yeah, that's fair.
Uh,
That's fair.
Yeah, yeah,
I was like half asleep. I thought it was so funny though. I was like,
But could you imagine if they actually tweeted that?
Oh God.
Like Broncos tweet during the Iowa game this week. They're like, Broncos are on Big Ten Network.
yeah, it's their names as Commanders football, and they were verified. I shouldn't
Oh no,
have,
that's totally fair.
Yeah.
but yeah, it says God. This game is like watching the Commanders play each other.
That's awesome.
CJ Powell hits us with the super chat, says, if Russ plays poorly against the Chargers, you have to bench him
No.
under the guise of a shoulder injury to try to get him right mentally. Can spin a narrative that his poor play has been injury related.
No, you can do that at the end of the season.
You can.
You know, like
You need to beat the Jets,
yeah. Well,
which Brett Rippon can do.
he has shown an ability to. You cannot do that.
Russ isn't going to get better on the bench.
How much money is Russ getting paid per game?
Oh, gosh.
Not as much this year.
Yeah,
That's
not,
true.
Not
That's
as much this year. Also, I've seen a lot of people, and we didn't get a super chat about this, but people saying just pay Russ his money, have the Waltons write him a check, and he'll leave. The Broncos cannot do that.
Yeah, their salary cap.
Yes, there's a salary cap where they would be killing their team, not for this year, not for next year, for the next 3 or 4 years. So that's just not an option.
If you want to go down this road, you would have to say, like, try to trade Russ.
Yes.
And have someone take his contract off your hands and get your first round picks back.
Yeah.
But
I mean, there's only...
you can't go down. It's just not a road you can go down. No. We're here for like 4 years at the very least.
Yep.
So
Russ
buckle
not
up
going
and
anywhere.
try to find someone who can figure it out.
Right, exactly.
Whether it's George Payton or Nathaniel Hackett or Jerry Rosberg, someone's gonna have to figure this out, and you got a lot of time to do it, but it has to happen.
It does. It has to. And last super chat coming in from Evan says, expectation bar at an all-time low for this season. Kind of relieving. Losses expected. Dubs a nice surprise. Optimistic for future years. Here's a couple beers for you guys. Thank you so much, Evan,
thanks.
for the super chat.
I had that feeling. Not that exact feeling. But today I was thinking, like, this is kind of relaxing, just knowing, like, I think the Broncos are bad. Because, like, for a couple weeks I've been kind of groveling over. Why did I choose a tough word? I've been trying to decide, like, are they going to figure it out? Are they actually kind of good? Have they gotten bad? Now it's just like, they're bad. Maybe things change, but right now, they're just bad. We know they're bad, and maybe they'll change my mind in the future. As of now, they're bad. It's easy.
So I'm not here at all yet.
Oh, wow.
And we were talking to our friend Devin last night.
Yeah, shout out Devin.
Yeah.
And I was just saying, like, maybe it's just because I know such a worse life of the Buffs. Like, that's truly what bad looks like, where you go into every game with no hope. Maybe 5 minutes before kickoff, you're like, maybe they get a touchdown on a kickoff return, and there's like a fumble on the first play for the offense. They go up 14-0. But I'm still going to go into every Broncos game expecting them to, at the very least, be competitive.
Yeah. I agree. I mean, if they go to 2-4, I think that's when the season feels like that to me. We got AO over here trying to kick us out.
Yeah, he's saying hurry up, and I just told him we haven't even gotten to questions.
Oh, we've
just gotten to super chats.
Jay, just open up a StreamYard, do bets by yourself.
Yeah. Yes.
So enjoy that applesauce by yourself, Dre.
Drinkable,
And
you should say.
Drinkable applesauce. I actually have those at my house.
Really?
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
You're doing pouch applesauce?
No.
Yeah.
Come on.
The cinnamon apple one's the best.
I will say, though.
I don't do that stuff. There's a certain way to eat things.
Yeah.
Like, I don't fuck with Go-Gurt either.
Oh, I
No.
don't do that.
Okay, Go-Gurt's incredible.
Why would I want to have to put, like, plastic wrapping in my mouth while I'm eating yogurt?
It does cut the side of your mouth.
Yeah, well, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
Unless you freeze it. That's a nice treat in the summer when you're a kid.
All right.
Yeah.
Let's
Still a
move
kid.
on.
Oh, also, no NFL team feels as bad as Buffs fans going into games. I will say that. Like, the Buffs are like, we're gonna lose by 20. Like the the winless Lions felt that way. There's no chance.
I'm just saying, like, this team, I still expect them to win. And so I'm not there yet. They might not, but I'm going to expect them to.
2-4.
I will against the Jets.
Except
I will against the
2-4. Then you play the Jets the next week. So then that's a little optimism. And then we'll see where we are with that Jags game.
Yep.
That's going to be interesting.
As of now, I expect that to be a loss. I think the Chargers is a loss for sure.
We'll see where we are. Where we are is going to be in London.
Hey!
So true.
All right, let's hop into the super chat or the comments on the website. First one from Howie Boot My Boomer says, I have no empathy for Russell Wilson. Getting trolled by KJ Sutton or whoever else feels like throwing him under the bus. He deserves to be under there. Wow. He is another embarrassing loss away from losing the locker room completely. You can't demand to be traded, demand stupid amounts of money, and perform like what he has while spending time making even dumber commercials and trying to come up with cool catchphrases.
Commercials were made before he came here.
It's true. He has embarrassed all of us Broncos fans. George Payton got played by the Seahawks and Nathaniel Hackett. What a bum. Is Pat Shurmur still available? RK, forget about coaching CU. How does coaching and general manager of the Denver Broncos?
Nope.
Oh, wow. Okay. Can't be any worse than what we're suffering through right now.
Nope.
Which part threw you off?
I don't want to coach the Broncos. It does not look fun at all.
It's very true. It's been a long time since it looked fun for someone. Not
Everyone's so
even Kubiak.
mean to the coach of the Broncos.
Yeah, when was the last time it looked fun? John Fox at points.
Yeah, I mean the 2013. I'm sure that was really fun to coach that team.
I mean, Gary Kubiak won a Super Bowl, and the next year he has to step aside for a few games because the job was so hard on him physically.
Yeah, exactly. Coaching the Buffs, like everyone loves me up there, you know. At least until I start losing, but then it'll be like this like sad like, oh man, it sucks we have to hate RK now.
Right.
Like that.
If I
that
coach the Broncos,
from-
like 1% of the Broncos fans even know who I am.
You'll have a good
Everyone
honeymoon
else
period.
just hates me immediately.
For the rest
like
of
the
your
coach
life.
from Wisconsin. Was it Wisconsin? Who got fired? He was like a player.
Oh, yeah,
and
yeah, this
like he'd
past
been there
week.
for years. Yeah.
Nebraska?
No, Wisconsin.
Oh, Paul Christ.
Yeah.
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 Also Scott Frost.
Yeah, Scott Frost.
Well, everyone hated him. Oh, I guess.
No, that
They
was like
didn't.
their
It was
prodigal
weird.
son.
Did they like him even when they fired him?
There
no,
was some,
okay,
oh, there,
okay.
I'm
there
sure
was
there's
still
some
people making excuses.
Yeah, you're right.
It's-
I guess
yeah,
everyone
it's
else
crazy.
outside of
people used
Nebraska
to be
hated
making
him.
excuses for me up in Boulder. After
Yeah.
I failed.
Yeah.
We would, certainly.
Broncos
This
fans
network
would be like
love
throwing
you.
bricks
Right.
through my window.
Next one from Melbourne Broncos says, my boys, pretty sure I saw an eBay ad placed by a G. Penner selling a franchise called the Broncos for $3 billion. There's no way Russ lasts to the end of his contract. He is struggling with accuracy and decision-making. Seattle is laughing, and Denver is a national laughingstock. The Chargers will only add to that laughter. And yet, kind of sucks if the Broncos lose that game that it's another one on primetime. They have an opportunity to kind of get it back on primetime, but another primetime game.
If they beat the Chargers in prime time, national media is not going to know what to do with themselves.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Totally.
No. But if they score 9 points again,
What they will end up saying is like how bad of a loss it was for the Chargers.
right,
Yeah.
you're right. It's not going to be credit to the Broncos.
Yeah, but that's going to be really hard for them because they love the Chargers.
Yep.
It's true. It's true.
LA.
Chargers could be 2-3 going into that game as well.
Very well could be. I think they're a 1-point favorite against the Browns. I mean, that's a pick 'em.
Yep.
Next one coming in from Kirk Smith, 44. 3 weeks ago, I called Hackett a moron and Russ average at best on here. I gave them way too much credit. Hackett may be one of the 3 worst coaches in the league, and that's probably still giving him too much credit. He is by far the worst hire of this year's new coaches. As for Russ, I can only think of 8 or so teams that would rather have Russ as their quarterback instead of their current option. However, not one of them would want him with his contract. Somehow I feel worse about our quarterback situation than I have ever since Peyton Manning. The cap hit at the end of the 2023 season is only $49.6 million to cut him. Maybe we'll be drafting in the top 5 and can get Caleb Williams, so it will work itself out. Only 18 more months.
Wow. At that point, you might as well just hold out for Arch Manning.
Oh, now we're talking.
That was in someone tweeted that at me last night. They're like, spin zone. 4 years from now, if the Broncos still suck,
baby.
they can get Arch Manning. I was like, wow, great spin.
I love it. It is really crazy, though, and I would have never guessed in 500 million years that on October 7th, people would legitimately be out completely on Russell Wilson.
The honeymoon with Nathaniel Hackett literally ended week 1,
Yep.
which is insane.
Yes, it is.
And the honeymoon with Russell Wilson ended week 5. I cannot get over that.
For
No.
good reason, though.
Oh, yeah, I'm not saying anyone's wrong here.
I would have, except for me, I was completely wrong. I would have
Yeah.
never
Oh, yeah.
expected
Yeah.
that
Of course.
Yeah.
ever.
Wow. What a world.
Yeah, and I don't like. There's maybe a few people nationally who are like, I don't think the Broncos are going to be very good, but this goes against what everyone was expecting.
Yes,
This is the most disappointing team in the NFL so far.
For sure. That's what I said last night. I'm like, they're the worst team with a good quarterback, or at least a alleged good quarterback.
Right, 100%. Wow. Damn, hearing you say all this stuff, it's hitting me hard, right?
It is great. Remember,
F.
remember people got mad at me when I said he's 8th or 9th best quarterback, 8th best quarterback. What a world we
were
live
on
in.
board with that.
Yeah, I
So
think you
he's
were.
somewhere between
Yeah.
7 and 11 or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
But people, that was a hot take back then. It's he's top 5, he's top 6. Now you're just oof, that's
He just has to run around. There's just no two ways about it. It's the only thing that I think can get this offense rolling is him going and getting big chunk plays by just creating them out of thin air.
and
Completely
it's
agree.
not over yet. It's just
No.
been so many bad signs.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Pig Tosser 66 fits right in with the mood, says, in all caps, what the actual F is happening? He actually used the word, too.
Great
so,
question.
Yeah.
And it can be applied to 17 different instances last night.
It is very true. And Nash Bronco, speaking of cuss words, says, "Hi, boys. I have never cursed in a comment on here, but I can't hold back. I could barely even sleep last night after that effing embarrassment. What happened to creative, aggressive Hackett? I don't think we gave the Colts D enough respect, but the Broncos should have 1,000% won that game."
They did win the game.
They did. That's what I don't get.
Yeah.
I was the most frustrated I've ever been after a game last night. I smashed my hat on the floor just like KJ smashed his helmet. I think I even hurt my shoulder. 11 days to whip it into shape. I don't really know why, but I somehow still think this team can pull it together.
He was aggressive. Going for it on that 4th and 2.
Yep.
That's aggressive. Throwing the ball out of shotgun, 4th and 1. That's aggressive.
Yep.
The creativity though is like, yeah, there's not. Like, he got shredded for it the first couple games because it didn't work. So he toned it back, and now it's toned back, and now you want it back because that's not working either.
I also hurt my shoulder last night because the seats at Mile High, especially if you're at anywhere where there's a curve, they're too close together. So if you get two people with like any somewhat wide shoulders, you're both sitting there like this, trying to not like be in their space. So I was just like this the whole game.
Oh,
It sounds like you're really pounding the table for new stadium.
he is.
You know what? we need something new around here.
Yep.
Cosmo Kelly says, "Open your eyes." Remember
Okay.
when Mason RK laughed at me and called me ridiculous for even mentioning that Russ might be past his prime? My super spicy ain't so spicy now. Boy, I wish I was wrong. I really do. I want nothing more than Russ to succeed, but it was right there in front of us on tape. At least we had draft picks and a ton of cap space to fix this thing. Oh, wait.
Go look at Russell Wilson highlights from last season. They look night and day different from the quarterback we're seeing.
He finished the season, was it 9-1 touchdowns to interceptions in like the final 3 games?
Yeah.
And the first 5 games of last year, he had 10 touchdowns to 1 interception compared to his 4 touchdowns to 3 interceptions.
And just go
now.
look at the way the plays happen. It looks entirely different. So I guess, good call. But it wasn't right there on tape. There was there was a concerning spell there, but it came right after he injured his finger.
And then that spell went away the final
Right.
3 games.
Exactly.
So I agree. I thought it was a good trade.
Yeah.
And I don't
Yep.
think I was like wrong for thinking
And I'm not ready to
No.
blow the candle out on this and say the Broncos are F for the next 5 years.
Right.
I really do think that there's things, like I don't think Russell Wilson is just done.
No.
Yeah.
But
hope.
there's some big changes that need to happen. And again, they're one idiotic interception away from being 3-2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, I'm almost glad looking back that they lost because it just relieved us of having to be like, I don't, we just got to like air out all the frustrations that built up the entire game.
Yep.
Very true. Bronco Oiler says, "I'm concerned about the state of the locker room. I'd love to think the players live in a vacuum, but they hear what is being said in the public sphere. And with the national media picking Hackett to pieces since week 1 and the narrative around Russ that has been pushed by the team that knows him best, it's hard to imagine that the locker room isn't turning on one or both of them at this point. Also, it absolutely sent me watching Russ end his presser with Broncos country. Then you see his face that he can't bring himself to finish the line, so he walks away from the podium. And then midway through realizes he's committed to the bit and whispers the saddest "let's ride" of all time. Comedic gold.
I'm so glad that you thought that was funny. There's so many takes out there about that.
I know.
And I can't believe anyone has a take other than that was hilarious.
Yeah.
Like in a sad, hilarious
Yeah,
way.
exactly.
But like in the same way, like seeing someone fall down on like a flight of stairs is hilarious.
Oh my God.
Their body,
Yeah.
just like ragdolls. It's
Yeah.
hilarious.
Does he need to stop?
Nope.
No.
No.
No. Let's ride.
That was so sad, though.
Oh yeah,
I
it's
think
sad.
there's a case to be made for not doing Let's Ride after losses.
Yeah.
I don't
Yes,
think
okay,
I don't think you
okay,
can
yeah,
go 50-50
yeah.
though. Like if that's you have to do it.
No.
You can't just like that's giving up hope. That's like this is all over. Like if you don't say let's ride for the first time, it's like, oh, we're punting on this
Giving
season.
up hope was what he did last night.
You got 13 weeks left. It's one thing for us to give up hope. He can't be giving up hope.
Okay.
It's not giving up hope to
It
stop
absolutely
saying
is.
Let's Ride after losses.
But I mean, could you imagine what people would be saying if he didn't? For the first time as a Bronco, he doesn't say let's ride. It's like, oh God, this guy thinks they're done.
Can he like spin this after this season and be like, oh, Let's Ride, that was just a 2021 thing. There's a new thing because the
Oh, yeah.
stink on Let's Ride,
Yep.
like it is might need to go.
Yeah,
might.
he definitely could, but then he'd have to have another phrase.
Yeah, I'll help.
Yeah, go
How
Broncos.
about go Broncos?
Yeah.
Go Broncos is a good one.
Go Bronx. So
Go Donkeys.
there was actually one. Go Donks.
No.
Yeah.
There was one time when Russell Wilson, it was not last year, but the year after, the very end of the 2020 season, his final press conference of the year, he didn't say go Hawks.
And everyone thought that was like him
Yeah.
forcing his way out.
And it probably was. Because then a couple months later, it comes out the 5 teams he wants to be traded to.
Yep.
I mean, so that Hank, like you're saying, that would go a long way. Maybe what he does is after each loss, he waits to get farther from the podium before saying,
That'd be a good bit.
Let's ride.
It'd be a good bit.
At the very end of the season, he's closing the door after him and then popping his head out. Let's ride.
Do you think if he tried to do a little call and return, any of the media would finish the sentence? If he went,
Broncos country.
Broncos country? And then pointed out. You don't think like Mike Cliss would be like, let's ride.
What type of let's ride would you give? This is after a loss, too.
Let's ride.
I mean, you have to have like a we're building vibe. Like we're trying to bounce back here.
Oh,
like
he
you
had
can't
that
just
vibe in
be
his press
defeated.
conference.
That's why I just think after losses, maybe you take out Broncos country.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you just say like, thanks guys, let's ride. And you walk off.
Yeah. Like
It
not
is-
it. Not,
We're going to get this together. Let's ride.
We don't need a
Yeah.
full 4-word sentence.
right.
It's
With the
always
break
been a bit much.
It's the ... the ellipses in there that really makes it
I
painful.
know.
And obviously he didn't do it last night, but typically it's like he finishes his final question, realizes it's done, and then he kind of stands up straight, looks at the camera. Broncos country, let's ride.
Yep.
And
Throw a wink in
it's
there?
very much a thing. Yeah, probably.
So I wonder if he was just going to go with let's ride. And then the Broncos were like, hey, is there any way you could work in Broncos country? It's a big part of our brand.
I mean, they might have started the whole thing. I mean, he's in there doing that shoot. That's the first time we heard it. It's like,
No,
hey,
he-
Russ, can you say Broncos country? Let's
No,
ride.
He
first time
actually
we heard
said
it
it.
was the first day in Denver video.
Oh,
Yep. At the very end of his time in the children's hospital.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Yep.
Yep, and I
Okay.
knew exactly what it was right when I heard it.
Impressive.
I was like, oh, that's the thing that he's going to say every single time.
That's the new Go Hawks.
Yep. All right, G.
Dude, wait, really quick. Did you hear the name of the punter for
Matt Hawk.
Matt Hawk? Matt Hawk. That's how it's coming across in the press box.
It's the same guy who was
Yes.
cut by the Bills for, I can't even, Matt Areza. I was trying to remember his real name.
Oh, really?
There was a
That's who that
punting
was. Yeah.
competition.
Oh,
Uh-huh.
now they got Sam Martin.
That's right.
Yep. G-Ham says, we were sold fool's gold, folks. Wow, sold fool's gold, folks
Yeah,
is
that's
a
tough.
Wow.
hell of a mouthful. Delivered a pig in makeup, probably,
Yeah.
and told it was a French supermodel. Is it too late to get Drew Lock back? Kidding mostly. I'm out on this season. Want to enjoy my Sundays again. Well, and occasional Thursdays and Mondays.
Well, don't worry. You can enjoy the next 2 Sundays because Broncos don't play till prime time, Monday
Prime
Night
time.
Football.
Let's go.
But Russ is good in prime time, so at least.
Yep. Not as good
Yeah.
on the road in prime time, but
I
still
think
good in prime time.
the Russ is good on primetime thing has taken a couple hits recently.
Prime time home games still 20-4.
Yeah.
Pretty damn good.
11 points.
1-1 as a Bronco.
11
H-Town
points.
Bronco says, I didn't like
Averaging
the Hackett hire from the start. Don't understand how y'all and everyone else was so hyped about it. It's obvious his only real success came when he wasn't even doing stuff because he had Aaron Rodgers. Really wanted a proven coach like Dan Quinn. The whole game plan was tailored around Aaron Rodgers, it seems. They even brought in old Billy Softy, described as Hackett's best friend.
Wow.
That obviously didn't work out, so they decided to go with Russ as plan B. Sounds good, but they're plugging Wilson into a Packers Aaron Rodgers offense, which is obviously that Russ is not good at or comfortable with. I don't know why they're not giving him the Seattle offense so that he was so
He
good
was
at.
trying to get away from that offense.
Exactly. That's
Yeah.
what they wanted to end.
Hackett is so clueless out there and trying to force a square peg into a round hole. Not to mention Hackett looks looks like a corny character cartoon. Never took him seriously, not even one bit. In fact, he's so clueless that he's turning a $256 million Russell Wilson into a washed-up has-been. We really effed ourselves. Good on this one. And now the whole league points and laughs at us. We're just a bunch of fools who everyone thinks is an easy dub. Pain. Hello, darkness, my old friend.
Oh, see.
Nice.
Oh, thank you.
We'll
Thank
say,
you.
like,
Thank you.
his only success wasn't with the Packers when he was doing nothing. Also, the AFC Championship with the Jaguars with Blake Bortles. That's impressive. That's success.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, like, yes. Are most of those things, like, 90% true? Yes. But there are like those little things where it's like, okay, we don't need to overreact.
There's one other season.
Nathaniel Hackett's 3-2 as a head coach if Russell Wilson doesn't throw that ball at Stephon Gilmore in the end zone.
Yeah.
3-2.
Yep.
That's like
Worst case, tied for second in the AFC West after this week.
yeah. So I get it.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah.
Again, like just no need to overreact. The real things that are happening, bad enough. You don't need to just like take that little extra. Nope,
Yes,
this is it. That's
that
bad.
was like this thing that someone tweeted at me last night. That was like some social NFL guy who was saying like the Broncos are bad because Nathaniel Hackett and Russell Wilson aren't like true alphas. And I was just like, there's so many
exactly
options for good takes about why the Broncos are
Yeah.
bad right now, and this is the one
Yeah.
you went with.
Yeah.
And they can be about Russell Wilson and Nathaniel Hackett.
Totally, but you decided to go with like, oh, they're not like they're not alpha mentality enough. Look at KJ Hamler; he's so mad because like he's an alpha competitor, and Russell Wilson is saying Broncos country, let's ride, and doing Subway commercials, and Nathaniel Hackett's like making Star Wars jokes. That's why they're bad. And it's like, no, that has nothing to do with this.
Right. No, it doesn't.
Also, ultra competitor Russell Wilson.
He really is. Yep. Briggsy says, all frustrations aside from the game, KJ Hamler needs to either be sat down by George Payton or cut/traded. Not only is everything inexcusable that he did last night on national television, the quote, the showing teammates, the SS that you guys said, let's not forget he was on Twitter sharing fire Fangio tweets last year before the season ended. He's earned nothing in this league. Wow, I don't remember that part.
I mean, that doesn't surprise me, I guess.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, I finally saw like the helmet video. That's worse than I thought.
Yeah, he
It's
takes
bad.
it off and is smashing it and then throws it again.
Yeah,
Yep.
it was a temper tantrum.
Yeah.
It was.
I mean, like if you want to trade him, like again,
No.
like I could understand
No,
why.
you can't trade anyone.
That's the other side of it.
You're selling low. That's
Yeah.
not what you're supposed to do.
No.
Buy low, sell high.
True.
Yeah, exactly.
And
no
you're-
one has any value except for like maybe Cortland Sutton in the defense.
Right.
Yep.
And those guys, like, you want to keep Pat Surtain for the next 10, 15 years.
Sure
yeah,
do.
and what are
Sell
you
him.
replacing KJ Hamler with? Because guess what? He's your third best receiver right now.
If things continue on this track, though, this like week before the trade deadline could be a fun time for the pod. I will say that. We could have some rankings going on. Hopefully it doesn't come to that, but
Maybe they're buyers at that point.
we could be having these talks here in a
I'd
couple.
love
weeks.
to know what like George Payton's thinking right now.
Yeah.
In the end, we haven't put him on the stand yet.
No.
He
but
should be.
We're
he
getting
should-
there.
Everything is, he's the puppet master of all of this.
Yep.
But we are way beyond this being John Elway's team.
Oh yeah.
He's still not inheriting John Elway. No, this is him.
This is
There
his
are a
coach
couple.
Yep.
and his quarterback.
Yep.
Like he decided to re-sign Bolles, so you have to give that to him, right? That was Bolles.
That's just one. I mean,
But again, like you look at the holds and all that stuff. When you go through and say like what has gone wrong, Bolles has had his mistakes.
Yep.
Like, who
this
else?
is George Payton's team.
Jerry has his, so that's Payton. Yeah, I mean, there's very few pieces, but the problem is so many guys need it. Like
Jerry
Garett Bolles
wasn't
not a
Payton.
championship tackle. Jerry is not a championship wide receiver. Like obviously there's the tight ends, all that sort of stuff, but there's just so many mistakes going around. Just guys that you cannot have on a team that's going to win a Super Bowl. Although it's like supposed to be a year or two away. You need to make some replacements.
Jerry was that way.
Jerry was Elway.
Yep.
Yeah. Last
So like
year.
there's one where it's like you can't really get rid of Jerry. You could, but you'd again be selling low. You're kind of just stuck with it because you can't like draft over him either. So there's a couple, but for the most part,
I'm just
definitely
mostly
George
saying
Payton's
like
team.
he made this bed.
Yep.
For the most part, yeah. You're stuck with Jerry. You're stuck with
yeah.
Garrett. They're making mistakes that you cannot fix right now.
Fair enough. Yes, but it's your coach and your quarterback, and that we
90%
said
of
last
it,
night
yes.
that the loss was on those two guys squarely.
Yes.
And Ryan, you're right. George Payton has gone under the radar a lot, and he's really only been given credit for what he's done, and we gave him tons of credit for what he's done over the past 18 months. He's about to get put into the spotlight
Yep.
big time, I think.
Yep.
The most egregious one to me is the tight ends. You need a tight end.
That's why they used
That's
their
the-
first draft pick on one.
True, and it didn't work. It has. We'll see. We'll
Yeah.
see. It's too early, but that is the most glaring problem
second draft pick.
from George Payton to me.
Right,
Is
Benito was first.
you didn't address that position. That and maybe inside linebacker.
Yeah, and Alex Singleton, good thing they have him as a backup.
True.
Sir James says, doom and gloom is upon Broncos country, but I will take the inevitable task of pointing out the positives. This game may have been bad. However, I just saved a bunch of money on my car insurance by switching to
Don't say it, no free ads.
because no free ads here. Yes, that joke is old, but it plays more that the offensive production, that it's straight out of the dart gauges. Some positives. KJ Hamler, not just the final game. Interesting, these back-to-back comments on KJ. So he says some positives about KJ, not just the final play, but dude was open all game. Forget letting Russ. KJ was cooking DBs all night. I could only imagine how the All-22 looks. Defense showed they're capable of playing through a slew of big injuries at key positions. Chubb played like a man who wants a new contract. Browning is the truth. Melvin and Boone look solid. I'm not out on Russ or Hackett by any shot, but those two need
Huss
to
and
regain.
Rackett,
Huss and Rackett. The alter egos.
Or just Huss. You just combine them, Huss.
Yeah.
I'm not out on those two. Need to regain the swagger that was ripped from them after week 1. Also, I will never understand or agree with leaving any sport event early, especially with the chance to win. Tired of seeing bad plays? Soak in the atmosphere, man. Look at the cheerleaders. Get a hot dog, something.
Frank.
Get a Frank, man.
Frank.
Yeah, I am also anti-leaving early. Even in like blowouts. I will say I won't throw stones from a glass house here. I left the Air Force game early, mostly because I thought that I was going to help everyone who came on the bus with DNVR to leave early, but it actually didn't work out that way because we had to wait for every single person to come
how that
back. And
works.
so I thought when I looked around our section, I was like, oh, I'm the last one here. Like, I'm not going to be selfish. And then I went and there was one more person we had to wait.
Man.
But it was also raining and the Buffs were losing by 30. So
It's tough. It's different than
What'd you think
overtime.
you signed up for? That's my
not-
question. Rain and down by 30?
I thought I signed up for the Buffs losing under blue skies,
Oh, okay.
which I'm in on every time. So I could never in my life leave a close game.
Especially, like, that's an iconic game. Like, that's a game that people will talk about 20 years from now because it's just so hilarious.
It was.
It's not, I mean, we haven't quite gotten to full-on funny yet, but 20 years from now, you look back, it's like, holy hell, I sat through this.
Yeah.
Like, that's a story you get to tell.
If things turn around by the end of this year, next year, that's when you'll be able to laugh.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, just put the whole game and just play yakety sax over and over again underneath it, and that's high comedy.
I mean, there was, even right before the half, there was like 9 seconds left for the punt. You go to like get food, beat the rush over, and you said like, I hope I don't miss anything serious. Montreal fumbled on the punt return.
Yeah.
Even fumbled.
that
And
was
like he
Mace,
recovered
yeah.
it too. Oh,
Yeah.
it was Mace. It
Yeah.
was Mace. That's right.
Yeah.
It's like, that's so close to just being another one of those little pieces. Where it's like, there's a free 3 points right there at the end of the half.
But that's actually a really good point, Hank. And we're just doing 2-hour pods. People need an event.
No, it's 2 hour pause season.
Yeah, exactly.
It's definitely not that season.
It is. Every time Hackett even does like the right move, it backfires.
Yeah.
So like last night, after they kick off, they get the offside. I'm like, oh, we'll make them re-kick this, so then you have a chance for a return.
Yeah.
Like that's the right move. So then he like talks it over, he figures it
Yeah.
out. He's like, all right,
was a
move it
kick,
back,
that's
kick
right.
it off again, and then Montreal almost fumbles, and it's just like you can't even trust Montreal now.
No.
Then last night, it's like, okay, you know what? You did the aggressive move. You went for it on that 4th and 2. You got it. And somehow it ended up being the wrong move because your quarterback threw an interception. Like you would have taken the ball out of his hands and just kicked the
Would've won the
52-yard
game.
field goal. You probably win the game. Even when it's right, it's wrong.
Yep. That's
Bad.
what it feels
Yep.
like. It is bad.
It's so sad.
All right.
Couple
Windy
more.
City Bronco. We'll get a couple more.
Yeah.
Don't worry, guys. Hackett just needs to hire a coach for his coach to coach him up so they can coach.
Wow.
I mean, we've got Walmart money now, so we can just hire one coach for every player on the team, and it's a coach for that coach. Coaches all the way down. Honestly,
I love that so much.
no salary cap on coaches.
Every
true.
loss, you just pick one more coach. What do we need this week? Like a Russ coach. I think this week's a Russ coach.
Oh, well, he has like 14 at his house.
Make it 15.
That's true.
Make it 15. Well, you just gotta have him in tune with something. Like this is the decision making.
No, I
coach.
want a
This is the
fourth-
runner pass coach.
I want a 4th and short play call expert.
Oh, okay.
I like that.
I can get behind that.
I like
So
that.
he sits next to Rosberg. Rosberg gives him the headset anytime it's 4th and short, and he's just like, "Do the Kelsey."
Or is he
sneak.
just in Rosberg's headset?
Oh, he passes to
passes it
Rosberg.
down.
Passes
Yes,
it.
I feel like whenever you got a coach, it has to be a chain to another coach.
Right. He's
Just build a web.
I'm in on 4th and 1
my
expert.
gosh.
Yes.
All he does is watch around the league and just sees plays that teams use to convert
That are
4th
good.
downs.
Yep, I like it.
Anyways, he says, "Oh well, at least the Seahawks will be in good position to draft their quarterback of the future next season."
They're all
Hate
just QB sneaks. 4th and 1. Oh, I see it. 4th and 1. Oh, QB sneak again.
He's like,
Oh, QB sneak again.
"All right, so I've got
QB sneak.
27 plays here. It's 21 QB sneaks and a Kelsey sneak." Aquaman says, "I'm still coming for the December 18th game. Can the tailgate just go for the whole game?
Ooh.
I'm not sure why we would want to actually watch the game. Playing beer pong with Hank is the better option.
That's so true. As long as you're on my team.
More
Unless you want us to
offense,
Get your
too.
ass beat. Yeah.
It's very true.
You lost to your dad in his first ever game.
They were so good. I think we weren't mentally prepared because like he's like mid 50s, friends like 60s, and neither of them ever played before. So you're just like pushovers. All of a sudden, just bang, 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 and then you're out.
That's a club champion golfer right there. Like,
Yeah.
if you have that, you're just good at things.
Just ready
Put a
for
bra
it,
in
yeah.
one hand, ping pong ball in the other. There's no stopping those guys.
Never met someone who's like really good at golf and not good at other little niche things.
So you're saying you're good at niche things.
I am.
Wow. Wow.
Junior Pancake says, Ryan Clark on ESPN this morning. At some point, we need to realize that we are now ordering Uber Eats or waiting on the waiter. We are not letting Russ cook. Because if we are waiting on Russ to cook in Denver, we are going to starve.
This is so. I'm so over like.
People are really playing this.
Yes, like
Yeah.
trying to.
Trying to get creative.
I like
yeah,
the I'm down for
let
metaphor.
Russ cook metaphors.
The
Let Melvin
the Uber
cook.
Eats references have been everyone's
Free
used them in
ads.
the past.
God damn it.
Yeah. He goes on and says, really hoping Russ can turn things around, but I just don't have a good feeling about that right now. Also, what are y'all's thoughts on how to give you how long you give a new head coach to get things right? Typically in college, you have 4 years so they can recruit the players they want into their system. I feel like the leash should be shorter in the NFL, but I just don't see the benefit of firing Hackett before the end of his first season. I mean, Josh McDaniels got 28 games in Denver.
So over time, this has just gotten less and less.
Yeah.
People are getting fired insanely fast now. Even college coaches aren't getting
Yep.
4 years.
So I'd normally say 2.5. I think 2.5 is where you say like, okay, now you're into fire territory, unless things are going again like hilariously bad, and we're going down that path where maybe you do just need to make a move. I'm not there yet though. I'll say that I'm not even that close to there. I'm a month away minimum.
Can you just
Wait, max.
Can you
minimum.
just pry Mike McDaniel from the Dolphins?
He's
I mean, only if you can
gone.
bring Waddle and Tyreek Hill with them.
What if that's probably not going to happen? Say what if Kyle Shanahan they fall apart this year?
Oh.
What I really don't want to do is change the whole system again. If you're gonna do this, you kind of have to stay in the West Coast world.
It's the Broncos' identity.
Yes.
Like that's what the Broncos are built on. Like this is what they should be running. In the same way that the Steelers should be running the power offense and the zone blitz defense. Like the West Coast offense in San Francisco should always be there. Like you have your identity. You should be building off that identity, because if you do that, well then guess what? You don't have to teach all of your offensive linemen a new blocking system.
Yes.
Because it's been your identity forever. That's why you don't change your identity. And now they're trying to flip back to what they were. I don't know. Maybe we should have known that things wouldn't go great right away.
That's what I was I'm just gonna say, if you're gonna change the coach, for the love of God, don't come in with some new hot scheme, because it is just all you have is square pegs and round holes now, because you've switched the offense so many times.
And
we'll go 4-3 on defense. Well, hell, no, nobody fits there either.
Yeah.
I mean, just talk about the lack of continuity. John Fox, Gary Kubiak, Vance Joseph, Vic Fangio, Nathaniel Hackett, all since the 2014 season.
Crazy, man.
Yep, not even a decade in, and that's 5 coaches.
And again, it's just, you can't draft, you can't do any of this stuff, because every year you're changing it. All of a sudden, that guy doesn't fit anymore.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
Look at Dalton Reiser's just been thrown around like a rag doll.
He has been.
he has.
It's crazy, man. All right, last one. And it fits perfectly. Sunny Rain. I don't have the emotional energy. I'm tapped out. Let's go Avs.
Don't lose us. Don't lose us. Keep hanging in there.
Yes.
I don't believe anyone who tells me they're like, I have all these people in
know.
my mentions. I'm done. I'm out. Nope. You're going to watch next Monday.
Night.
You're gonna watch, you'll be there.
You have to get back to 500.
What else would you do if the Broncos are playing?
Monday night. Oh, I think Bachelor in Paradise is on the Monday Tuesday schedule right now because they're still early.
I'm
there's
out
your
on the
answer.
Bachelor franchise.
I live with 2 women, so I am back in.
Well, there you
Not
go.
according to my own will, but
It used to be better. It's bad now.
I
Yeah.
agree.
Bad Bachelor, bad football. Good
Jeez,
weekend.
What can we even get around here?
I know.
Every football team sucks. No one can score a touchdown. I'm actually going to root for CSU tonight.
No, I
Oh,
can't get
baby.
there.
Say that again?
Yep. I just want someone in Colorado to see their team score some
Win.
touchdowns.
Nice. Just
I
pick the
love
winner.
it. Let's
Just
go.
bandwagon. Ride against CSU. Ride against CU. Just accept it. Enjoy it.
I can't handle all the sadness. That's not.
This state's football is so down right now.
This is a football state,
And it's so down.
and we're just getting absolutely bludgeoned from every angle.
It's tough. Joseph in the
Shout
comment.
out Air Force for holding it down.
Yeah. Shout out Air
It did
Force.
lose to Wyoming.
Shout out to our guy Johnny Venerable, and shout out to Joseph, who's checking back in on the pod and says, "Oh my God, the pod is still going."
4 minutes from 2 hours.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna wrap it here.
Oh.
We're not gonna hit the 2-hour mark because I have another show and I have dinner reservations.
Okay,
Your other
big
show was-
time reservation.
Your other
guy.
show started 31 minutes ago. Good luck.
Yes, it did.
Yeah.
Hopefully they just did it without me. It's over.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Hit us with a thumbs up on your way out. We'll be here to vent with you as much as we possibly can. Maybe not 2-hour pods all next week. I don't think we can handle it. But we got 2 in back to back, essentially,
Almost within 12 hours.
to take you through the
So
weekend.
true.
That's 4 hours of listening if you haven't even started yet. So appreciate you guys, and we will catch you next week.